road to Talladega is a long one along I-40 in Alabama, and those hills magic can be found and captured. But is there any magic left for the drivers of the 3-Wide Racing League? Some need to find it as we roll up the start of the second round of the 2018 RaceKings Cup Series playoffs. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 3-Wide TV. I'm Tanner Sharp in the booth, and alongside me is Justin Kolb. Back in the production truck doing all the button pushing is Mr. Carlos Acosta. Justin, welcome to Talladega. You and I both know this joint very well. We experienced this last night. A lot of different strategies, drivers coming in this race, and a lot of them don't work out, and some do work out. What is your knowledge about Talladega?
Well, I think just about everybody knows what Talladega is just by the name, and this is basically the lottery on wheels here tonight. Is what's going to be, big packs, big speeds. Should be up to 200 miles an hour up in these big drafts. Bumper-to-bumper racing. You mentioned strategies. You can really pull a lot of strategies here. You can take a conservative and race towards the back until we start getting closer to the end of the race. Or you can race up at the front and try and make bold plays and stay up front as long as possible. And I think you're going to see some of those guys who are in good points positions take that strategy up at the front, and maybe some of the guys that are towards the back of the playoff standings as they just reset, maybe towards the back, and be a little cautious here as we some of these guys just trying to avoid this track.
2.66 miles, and it's the biggest track on the NASCAR circuit. It's got 33 degrees of banking, 2 degrees steeper than Daytona International Speedway, its sister track. This track opened up in 1969, and it's been a whale of racing ever since. And in the late 80s was the implementation of the restrictor plates, and now today we have our cup packages here, which is the Monster Energy NASCAR Gen 6 cup cars, especially the Chevrolets with their new ZL1 Camaros. Now, since we talked about the racetrack just a little bit, let's go ahead and into the point standings. We start off a brand new round after Dover International Speedway. 3 drivers were eliminated from the first round. Those drivers were Levi Zielinski, Chad Brown, and Dylan Hickey. Now we start off a brand new round, and that's going to consist with Cameron Rich on top of the board with 32 points ahead of that cutoff line. A lot of bonus points, leading that halfway point and winning races. That's the way to do it, to try to get ahead and stay away from that cutoff line as much as possible. But realistically, entering the first race of round 2 at Talladega, realistically, nobody is safe probably other than Cameron Rich, because if Peter Short has a bad race and he finishes dead last, guess what? He might be below that cutoff line or just above it by a point or 2. But Kevin Finn, Matt Hackthorne, Sam Close, Lisa Muscle, Chuck Sweden, them guys, Paul Ross, realistically, all of them guys from second on back are kind of in danger if they have a bad night tonight.
Absolutely, and I think we'll probably mention it a couple of times tonight, but just how quickly things can change here at Talladega. One slight slip of the wheel, one misplaced bump, and all of a sudden half the field can be taken out at this track. It's some of these guys tend to like this track, just because of the unpredictability. But I know some guys, mostly Cameron Rich, kind of dreads when we come to these types of track, just because it's somewhat easy to get around here, but just the unpredictability of it too can kind of leave a sour taste in some of these guys' mouth.
If you're Cameron Rich, how confident are you in entering this second round here, Justin? Because I know you've had a lot of experience in the 3-Wide Racing League here, and you started going for championships. Just looking ahead right now, you got Talladega tonight, you got Martinsville the next week, and then you got Texas Motor Speedway. It's 3 rounds in the round of 9. How confident are you, and are you confident to get to that final or to that next round?
Well, look, just based on points right now, I think he's probably the most confident guy in here. You mentioned 32 points to the good. He's probably the guy that's looking the best on moving on. But this track, I know he's not looking forward to. I've talked to him about it a little bit about it last night, and he's not looking forward to it. But Martinsville is a track where we know he does very good on the road courses. That's a track that can favor road course drivers, just the style of driving that you have there at Martinsville. And Texas as well. I know he does really well at the 1.5 miles. And, other than this track, I think he's looking very confident moving on to the next round. Some of these tracks just really playing into his hands.
It is Cameron Rich's birthday here this evening, so happy birthday to Cameron Rich. And let's go ahead briefly to pull Cameron Rich in here and ask him a little question. Maybe not ask him on his confidence, but ask him why could he be worried about the second round. Let's pull him in here. Cameron Rich, do you have a copy?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, Cameron, we were just talking about you, and maybe you have a good confidence level heading into the second round. You're 32 points ahead of that cutoff line, which it reasonably gives you a good comfortable doubt. But let me ask you a question. If there's any doubt in you, or there's a little bit of a worry in you, how come you're worried about the second round if you are?
This race? Just after tonight, if I come out of here not in the catch fence, that'll be great.
You look like you're pretty worried about this one, even though you had that 32-point gap. Let's just say you have a bad race, okay, and that 32-point gap just shrunk. What do you got to do to accomplish Martinsville in Texas?
Just go out there and do what I've been doing. Really, I have confidence in those two races. I think I can finish really well at both of them. The goal tonight is just kind of survival and just kind of not blow it too much, you know. If I can get out with like a top 5 or even a top 10, I would be absolutely ecstatic about that.
All right, Cameron. Well, best of luck to you here tonight at Talladega. I know it's going to be a hell of a race to fight for, especially for points-wise, even though you had that good gap, but there's always that chance. So best of luck to you here tonight, and we'll be watching it. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Tanner. Thank you very much, Justin, and thanks for the good luck. I'll try to keep it one piece out there.
That was Cameron Rich, who's been practically the dominant car all season long here in the RaceKings Cup Series of 2018. And I'm pretty confident Cameron can get it done here tonight. He usually is a relatively clean and fast driver for sure, Justin. But tonight here at Talladega, it can be anybody's ball game. And usually here at Talladega in 3-wide racing, you normally don't see guys that normally don't run up front who are actually running up towards the front here. Do you have like any kind of sleepers that could possibly be the spoils?
Oh, there's quite a bit of guys. Not that I'm going to base it off practice times, but Chad Brown seems up there. Not quite sure where he finished last night in the truck race, but I know he was up there a bit. Johnny Thomas, obviously, can never count him out. I know he's a man who really enjoys the restrictor plate tracks. Coincidentally, they're one too, but Johnny may be the sleeper in all of this, although he did run really well last week at Dover, and I'm sure he's hoping to continue the consistency over to Talladega, and that's always easier said than done. But really, there's so many sleepers in this pack, and I don't think a lot of them are really going to show their might until the final 10 or 5 to go. I think that's when you're really going to see all these guys start to show their strengths, and really, you can't, not all those guys can get up front at once, so it's going to be really interesting to see how it all works out at the end.
I won't bring up any more drivers at the moment since they're going to be doing the drivers meeting, but Justin, I got a question upcoming for you about these cars here at Talladega, especially these Cup cars we're going to be driving here tonight. For those of you who watched the Sim TV live broadcast of the 3-wide racing Nathan Young Truck Series last night at Talladega, the drafting looked easy. Realistically, it was not. Justin, why is the Cup cars even much harder than the trucks?
That's a really interesting question to ask, because I don't think I'm too sure of it either. I know that these Cup cars notoriously, or at least on iRacing, they don't draft, I feel, as well as they did last night in the Truck Series. Those things were like a dream to draft up to last night. But I don't know, I've never found that these Cup cars have really... They draft okay. It's the sucking up part that I feel like isn't the best, and I might be proven wrong here tonight, but I'm sure you can elaborate on that a little bit more. But I felt like the trucks were a little easier to pull up on a guy and just really wail on his rear bumper. I don't think I've done a restrictor plate race with the Cup cars in a few weeks, but it definitely felt like the trucks were easier to suck up and just kind of wail on the guy.
I totally agree. As the drivers are going through a drivers meeting right now, if before this ends, I do want to get a quick interview with Paul Ross, because he did win the truck race last night at Talladega, and then after that we can do a grid walk with a couple of drivers, kind of talk to them about their feelings about Dega and all that. But last time the trucks, yeah, you could definitely run. It was definitely easier to suck up in. I love the draft package that we have here on iRacing for the truck wise. But because at times I was just running 3/4 throttle and just being patient, because I actually finished second last night to Paul, and there was times I was running behind Paul and I was just like running 3/4 throttle, not really gained to his back bumper, which is a good thing. You can really control your truck on the amount of suck up to that person next to you. The only problem is you don't want to hit their quarter panels. It can get them out of whack. We've seen tonight here in practice to where a driver gets up to that bumper of another car and actually pushes them on the right rear of the car, and it turns them around. So that's something you don't want to do. It's sometimes those suck ups are completely unexpected, so you really got to pay attention to the suck up and just kind of be patient around this racetrack, because that's one of the key features that Paul Ross did last night, was the patience that he had, because he did fall back early in the race just a little bit. I think he got low, so he was like 13th. He eventually caught his way back up and all that. He didn't have his teammates to work with. He just kind of worked with who was around him. You got to have that patience to do that, and I think that's what we're going to see here tonight. So as long as the drivers are going through a driver's meeting, one of the biggest things in the driver's meeting is going below the yellow line. You cannot advance your position underneath the yellow line here at Talladega. Race officials will be watching in the booth here tonight for that, and you have to stay below the apron, below the yellow line whenever you exit pit road, and you cannot get onto the racetrack until the complete exit of turn number 2. There will be a blue cone and blue line on the exit of turn 2 that will show drivers, hey, you can't, after this line, you can go on the racetrack and enter it safely. So, and it looks like the drivers meeting has concluded, because I'm seeing some cars on pit road starting to move out here. So let's go ahead and ask Paul Ross here, see what his confidence level is like, because since the points did reset here, Justin, if you want to go ahead and ask him, the floor is yours.
All right. Paul Ross, CYTV, got a copy there, bud?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's doing pretty well up here. We want to get your take on tonight. 10 points to the good. Obviously, the points just reset. How's the confidence tonight, and what's the ultimate plan here?
I see there being a few wrecks, probably one early on and then one towards the end. Just need to get up, get some halfway bonus points, and try to get a top 5 finish.
Well, we talked a little bit about the difference between the trucks and the Cup Series, and since you're running both here tonight, we'll let you elaborate on it. We were talking about how it seemed like the truck kind of sucked up better to the other guy, and you were able to really pound on the rear bumper a little better. Is that what it's feeling like here tonight?
Yeah, in the trucks, you kind of, if you were the second car back, you could almost run 3/4 throttle, maybe a little bit more, and stay on their back bumper. The Cup car, you can run wide open multiple laps and won't ever touch the guy unless you get somebody behind you helping push you. But the trucks were real fun. The Cup car, I kind of see it being a one-lane race until the end.
Well, as we get closer here to the green, is there any one specific thing about these cars, or maybe how they're driving, that worries you? Maybe how people might get hit tonight? Because I know a little bit about the trucks. It seemed like you had to be square on, or they kind of got a little loose on you.
Yeah, the way the car's set up through the tri-oval, even by yourself's a little bit loose, gets real skatey. And then the front end of these cars kind of come to a point, so you have to hit completely square. If you're barely off center at all, it'll spin the guy in front of you.
All right. Well, Tanner, do you have anything else for Paul Ross before we let him go?
I don't, Paul, but it was great seeing you in victory lane again last night and at Talladega. I know you've won a couple of restrictor plate races in the past. I'm not sure quite how many, but I know you have for sure. And it'll be great to see you back in victory lane on the Cup side, so hopefully you can sweep the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully, and thank you again last night for the help.
No problem there, Paul. Best of luck to you.
All right, thanks.
That was Paul Ross, who is 10 points to the good ahead of that cutoff line. I guess it's a safe time to go for the what?
Oh. Wow.
Oh, got some breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, Kevin Finn cannot make the race here tonight. That is very unfortunate. He was one of the stronger drivers last night in that truck race, in my opinion. Always trying to find himself, get that race lead, man, and just trying to get people to work with him. And that's what he did last night. But unfortunately, he will not be able to race here tonight. That's very unfortunate. All right, let's go ahead and do a grid walk here quickly. We got 3.5 minutes to do it. Let's go down to, where is it? Rebel Racing. Okay, Rebel Racing 3Y TV's Grid Walk. First question, Levi, you don't plan on hitting anybody in the bad bumper tonight, do you?
Oh, wait, Justin tell you to say that?
No.
No? Are you
No,
sure?
he had that planned out.
Oh, did he?
I actually didn't know what happened until I watched the broadcast, and I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, my screen went black and Justin was right there, so unfortunately that happened.
All right. Well, Justin, do you got anything for Rebel Racing guys?
I mean, you kind of just asked the question, but Levi, maybe you can elaborate. We kind of talked about it with Paul a little bit. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more. How differently do the trucks drive than the Cup cars here tonight?
There doesn't seem to be like, with trucks you can kind of do whatever you want with it. I think the high side was a big role in the trucks last night, but like with the Cup car, you just can't do that as much, unfortunately. So it's gonna be a lot tougher to pass, and I feel like it's just not gonna be as exciting. I'll put it that way. Be a lot of side drafting, and there's gonna be a wreck because of it.
All right, heard it here first, folks.
Yep, you've heard there. Best of luck, Dylan Hickey, Nathan Velez. I know you guys are some pretty good restricted plate guys. Hopefully you guys stay out of trouble and get her up there when it counts.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's go to Shake. Getting a report from, we got to go to Shake and Bake Motorsport. Shake and Bake Motorsports, you got a copy?
Yes, we do.
Matt Hackathorn, based upon your last name, I bet you wish you could hack iRacing, maybe do a grip hack. But tonight, I don't think it's going to be needed because it's an overcast setting here at Talladega. You were a strong one last night in the trucks. Can you make it happen tonight? Can you and Mike make it happen tonight?
Oh.
Uh-oh. I don't
Matt
think
not here?
I don't know. Is Mike Stevens there?
Yeah,
oh, hello.
there.
I just
Hello.
can't hear you guys.
Oh. Well, Mike, can you guys make it happen?
We're definitely going to try tonight. Our goal is obviously to keep Matt in contention for the championship, so we're going to do everything that we can tonight to make sure that, he advances into the next round.
Quick question for Matt. Have you recovered from your triple barrel roll last night?
Actually, no, I have an ear infection today.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, I got to spend all day in the hospital. That was a good time.
Every week every month iRacing releases a top 10. I don't know if anybody notices that, a top 10 of the greatest finishes. iRacing needs to capture that with Hackathorn landing on his wheels.
Yeah.
Dude, and then coasting through pit road and making it all the way back to finish.
Best of luck.
Championship contender right there.
Yeah.
Dude, never give up, never surrender. I was racing Kevin the whole time.
All right. Best of luck, guys. Let's go up to pilot performance. Oh, that's it? Oh, that's it. All right. Good luck, Shake and Bake.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
I almost clicked Patrick McCuster's name in Discord here, but I'm in the broadcast booth now. But yeah, a lot of those guys they seem pretty more calm than usual.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but well, the reason why we had to wrap it up, folks, is because it's going to be at the end of practice, which now we will now advance into qualifying mode here at Talladega. Now, Justin, me personally, qualifying doesn't mean really a dang thing to me, but does it mean something to you?
Qualifying here at the restrictor plates is kind of really developed as time's gone on. They've gotten different tricks here to get up to the front. The most recent trick that I've learned is backing up on pit road right before you get booted out, but that gives you a little bit more time to really get the car up to speed. And obviously you're going to see a lot of these guys going towards the high line, and qualifying mattering, I think, is really going to depend where you stand in the championship standings and what your goal is for tonight. If your goal is to kind of ride in the back towards the end, then no, qualifying is not going to matter. But if you're just kind of going out there to get the win, like I'm sure Levi Zielinski is tonight, I think qualifying is definitely going to impact your performance here tonight.
33 degrees of banking. I do believe we are on board with Cameron Rich, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Zielinski. And you can tell how steep this banking is here at Talladega. Captured off the real life track. It's actually completely laser scanned off of it. Now oh man, it looked like he got a little squirrely entering the tri-oval. Do you find that the tri-oval is probably the most dangerous part of the racetrack?
Yes, because definitely if you're in that lower line, I definitely noticed last night there's some there's some significant bumps down there with which if you're not prepared for it, they can really catch you off guard and possibly spin the car out if you're not careful with it.
You know, some people out there, if they're watching this tonight, may not know why these drivers are riding the high side on their first lap. Justin, do you know why these guys are running the high side on the first lap?
I do, and I just recently learned it. It's really on this first lap, you get up to that high side, take the longest way around the track, get your RPMs up as high as possible, and then your second lap is realistically going to be your fastest because your car is up to the most speed it can.
Most definitely. It looks like some times are going to be starting to come in here. First time was posted was by Nathan Velez. He's already dropped down to fifth. Cameron Rich on top of the speed charts at the moment. Mike Stevens is in second. Luis Salmaso is in third. And the more I talk, the more everything's kind of getting flip-flopped around here. So we do see some drivers getting in some lap times at the moment. Mike Stevens so far, pretty good lap time for him in second place. If that holds up, he'll be up there in second side by side with Cameron Rich.
And I think you pointed it out at one point, Tanner. I don't think we were live yet, but these qualifying times really aren't going to be indicative of anything. It's, sure, it's cool to be up front, but even though you're the fastest in qualifying doesn't mean you're going to be the fastest on track. This track can really humble you in a hurry. You can go from the front leading to getting put 3 wide, and then all of a sudden you're in the back of the field. So these guys are going to get flip-flopped quite a bit here tonight.
We seen that last night with a driver named Todd Smith, who's actually in the field here tonight. He is actually the number 76 for Pilot Performance Group, replacing James Duke here tonight. So Todd Smith in that 76 car, one of the fastest guys last night in the truck race, and he could be one of the fastest guys here tonight. He is known to make some good aggressive moves. Sometimes it can really scare a driver out there. But at the same time, if you get put into a position, or if you feel like you're put into a position where you have to make an aggressive move, you might as well just go for it. But it's still a long way tonight. It's 94 laps. There is a halfway bonus for the championship drivers, actually for all the drivers here tonight, and that's lap 47. So, and we did see the halfway point really heat up last night. I was one of those drivers that was trying to fight for it, but at the same time, racing respect with other championship drivers. Now, Justin, you and I last night were not championship contenders for the truck series. We're just racing part-time in that series. And did you race any championship drivers any different than anybody else?
No, I didn't, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I didn't impact the championship at all. I wanted to go out there, have fun, kind of learn the truck and learn the, just kind of how that truck really drafted. But that was, I'm not going to say I made myself race differently, but I definitely made sure that I didn't put myself in the middle of, somebody's championship run and possibly put it to an end.
Same here. Last night, if anybody watches that truck race on SimTV, we were racing for the halfway point. I think the halfway was like lap 38. I stayed on the outside row and let Paul on the inside row just kind of build up that inside just a little bit. Maybe him and I can race the line. Whoever beats each other in the line will beat each other to the line. That was my set because I wanted to race Paul with respect, not slam the door on him and not cause him get the 10 bonus points as he did receive, because he did beat me to the line, but it was still racing with respect. So that's something we'll watch for the night. It's still anybody's ball game. Qualifying just now wrapping up, and Justin, you wanted to go ahead with the pole award.
Yes, sir. It'll be the 4 of Luis Salmaso, who wins the Drive for Suicide Prevention pole award here tonight. And as we mentioned, even though you're the fastest in qualifying, doesn't mean you're going to be the fastest on track, but he will start up front alongside Drew Eisenman in second.
Congratulations, Luis Salmaso. As Justin said, Drew Eisenman will start in second. How about this guy right here, third place? I think he's going to be a good restricted plate driver to work with. In my opinion, last night in the truck race, he was. That is Mr. Johnny Thomas. He's starting third place here tonight. Jordan Teal is going to start in fourth. Chad Brown will start in fifth for Pilot Performance Racing Group. Tate Lytle will start in sixth. Paul Ross in seventh. Patrick McCusker is going to start in eighth. Great qualifying spot for Patrick, so hopefully maybe get it done tonight. Have some drafting partners to work with. Sam Close in ninth, and rounding up the top 10, Cameron Rich, the birthday boy there, Justin.
Yes, sir. Wade Lear going to start in 11th here tonight. Rusty Webb will start in 12th. Kyle Hanshaw will start 13th here tonight. Levi Zielinski will start 14th. Talked to him a little earlier, and probably going to see that 59 go up to the front pretty quickly here tonight. Mike Stevens going to start 15th here tonight. Matt Hackthorne will start 16th. Nick Miller 17th tonight. Nathan Vlez will start in the 18th position. Chuck Sweeting will start 19th, and Peter Short will round out the top 20.
Blackjack position, rookie Dylan Hickey is going to start 21st. Todd Smith is going to start 22nd. Richard Lafferty will start 23rd. David Wilson is going to start 24th. And rounding out the top 25 car field here tonight is Richard Hines. Corey Lindsay is still listed as 26, but he is not driving. He's up there in the officials booth officiating the race here tonight. So 25 cars will start this evening's festivities. 26 trucks actually started last night's event. So it's been a very good week of Talladega racing as far as participation is concerned. So we're getting ready to go. We're going to get one pace lap around the giant 2.66 mile superspeedway of Talladega. And then we'll unleash the beasts. It's going to be some white knuckle, hardcore American restrictor plate racing here at Dega.
And one
What's that?
thing I want to point out here tonight, I think the one difference is going to be, I'd like to say pretty, it's going to make a big difference tonight. Last night in the truck race, the sun was shining pretty brightly, and it made the track heat up just a little bit. Tonight, the sun's not out. It's overcast, and this track is going to be even cooler than last night, which is going to equate to more grip. So these guys may start to get a little bit more bold with their moves, and the track's going to be able to work with them on that front. But I hope we're not going to see too many of those moves early tonight. But imagining towards the end, these guys have already felt out their cars, and they're going to probably be a little bit more bold than they usually would be.
Let me check out the race facts here for this evening's festivities. The weather here tonight is an overcast setting, so it could be storms or rain in the area, but we don't have virtual rain on iRacing. 85-degree air temperature and 85-degree track temperature with the winds coming 8 miles an hour from the southeast. Fuel approximately 30 to 32 laps here this evening. And Justin, I do believe you got the track cams.
Yes, sir. These cams are going to be pretty awesome here tonight. They are provided by Track Cams for Gourmet. You can find more information and download the pack at www.trackcams22.com or facebook.com/trackcams.
The drivers
are
are
right there.
Absolutely. Look at them. Look at the shot. Nice and wide to see the field here at Dega.
Oh.
We're going to be coming off turn number 4. Now, this is my favorite shot right here. Coming off turn 4, seeing the group pack of cars coming off turn 4 like this to 33 degrees of banking. And these guys are buckled in, ready to go at home, and they're on their PCs. And I hope you race fans at home have some kind of seatbelts in your chair because you're going to need it today. Folks, this is the start of round 2 of the 2018 RaceKings Cup Series playoffs. Who's going to go to victory lane, and when will the big one happen? Because we're green at Dega.
Luis had probably about a 1-car gap there towards the front, but it's going to take these guys maybe a lap or two to get completely up to speed. So
first time side by side in the 33 degrees of banking here at Talladega. Luis Salmaso is out front getting a nice little push from the 83 of Johnny Thomas. Both drivers are playoff drivers. Everybody kind of gets strung on the bottom line there. You got Chad Brown, Paul Ross, Sam Close all on the bottom side. Meanwhile, on the higher side, it's going to be led by the 77 of Drew Eisenman, Jordan Teal, and I believe that green car back there, who is that? That car number is 56. That's Tate Lytle. And then you got another pack of cars who's not quite caught up yet, but they're still in the draft, and they're side-by-side racing as they come to the start-finish line. Luis Salmaso is going to get a bonus point for his championship efforts.
yes, sir, he'll lead lap 1. Right behind him is Johnny Thomas, and then it's 2 rows of 3 back there, or excuse me, 3 rows of 2. And it looks like that's the 64 Chad Brown that's leading that pack.
Yeah, Chad Brown, and you got Wade Lear, you leading that bottom slide in that second pack, who's still trying to in the draft of that 56 of Tate Lytle. You got Kyle Hanshaw on the bottom back there. You got Mike Stevens Do you, at this point, if you qualify in the middle of the pack, Justin, do you want to try to get up toward the front or fall to the back?
Well, once again, I think it kind of comes down to what your game plan was. If you're Levi Zielinski, who I knew was kind of just going for broke tonight, I think you're going to want to make your way up to the front. You can see he's up in that high lane at the moment, which seems to be making just a little bit of headway, but I do know that last night that outside line was pretty incredible, the speeds it could get. We heard from Levi earlier that's probably not going to be the case here tonight.
Look at everybody single file on the bottom side of the racetrack. This draft package is much, much different than the trucks. Everybody's just taking their time. Tate Lytle's going to pop out of line, but I don't think he's going to get any drafting help.
No, and he's going to lose his spot in line there.
He most certainly is. And he might have some help. That's Tate Lytle on the high side. He might get some help on that upper line there, trying to get a group together. That's the 03 of Wade Lear, and behind the 03 is the 46 of Kyle Hanshaw. And then you got Cameron Rich in that mix on the higher side, then Rusty Webb. So you got a bunch of cars on that high line trying to get it going. It's just a matter on, can they get it going?
And it really wouldn't surprise me a bit if we saw these guys just kind of settle into that bottom line and kind of ride around. I mean, some guys like to do that, just ride around, log laps, and just try and keep it as safe as possible. But we see some of these guys, and it's still early in the race here, just trying to make up as many positions as possible. But that high line not too well formed at the moment, but looks like they're making up a little bit of ground still.
Some pretty good racing going on so far in the opening laps of this race, of the start of the playoffs of round 2. As Luis Samasso continues to lead over Johnny Thomas.
Oh, the 77 of Drew Eisenman through the grass. He saves it.
You got to look at the replay on that one.
Probably a bump gone wrong, or maybe he hit one of those bumps on the bottom. Oh. Nope, it was just...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I think he just got loose.
We mentioned it before, Tanner. Really low down there. There's some bumps that, if you're not paying attention, can really catch you off guard, and I think that's what we just saw.
Speaking of mentioning it before, man, you topped it off, Justin. That tri-oval is incredibly dangerous. And that is the perfect example right there. Just a little bit of a loose effect on Drew Eisenman, and he has fallen all the way back to 13th place at the moment. 19th place.
I'm sure he's going to need to catch his breath for a little bit there. And
he's still fighting the car through the tri-oval. Man. Meanwhile, up towards the front, that outside line is starting to get a nice push, being led by Chad Brown, who actually hopped right in front of Tate Lytle. Looks like Lytle might go through the middle here. No drafting help for Chad Brown. He is actually on the outside line with no help. He's going to fall backwards.
And he's going to find a hole just behind that 03, thankfully, so won't fall back too far, but you can see just how much it hurt that high line there and how many cars they fell back.
Would you, if you were in that position, would you want to have worked with Chad Brown, or would you want to just go ahead and take a 3-wide like Tate Lytle did?
Well, if you feel like you're going to be faster by yourself there without the 64, then I'd probably put myself in that position too. I mean, it wasn't the most boldest thing. It was just one car on the outside line, but it kind of comes down to how you're feeling with that car, and if you feel like that car is holding you up, then obviously he did what he needed to do, and it seemed like the cars behind are going to catch up pretty quick, and I think ultimately it'll work out, but...
I hate to say it. It was probably a wrong decision because they have fallen back quite a bit. They had that outside line going, but now they've totally fallen back. Back there at about maybe outside the top 10. Wade Lear still in line, still committed to Tate. Here comes Chad Brown onto that back bumper of Wade Lear. Then you got Kyle Hanshaw back there as well. A lot of these drivers, that's one thing I'm realizing here, is that not a lot of side draft is going on at the moment. Cameron Rich pops out of line right now on the outside row. He'll be the first driver on the outside to lead the high line around. And there's some side draft I'm seeing from the 56 and the 17 just a little bit. Oh, and popping right out of line. I think that was Jordan Teal.
Yep.
And he's getting a nice, heavy, good push from that 17 car as they're really marching towards the front right now.
Yeah, they're starting to get a lot more cars formed up in that high side too, so that's only going to help them.
Johnny Thomas is somewhat in a sandwich because just ahead of him is a 3OG driver, and 2 drivers behind him is 3OG drivers. Actually, 3 of them.
And if Johnny wants to pull out, well,
Oh,
the 33 is starting to blink a little bit, and it's come to a point where Johnny's kind of run out of time. Well, nope, they fall back a little bit, but I have a feeling that Johnny's just going to ride behind Luis at the moment and just try and log laps.
Jordan Teal leading the high side around, getting a nice, good push. He's got a good group of cars up there. We have another driver jumping out to the outside line. I do believe that was the 88 of Rusty Webb. It certainly was. They're trying to get it going right now, and they're trying to march to the front. So far, they're challenging for the 3rd spot, but they can't get any more than that at the moment. Let's see what Cameron Rich can do to try to get to that back bumper of the 33. These cars they can't just suck up like the trucks can do.
Yeah, and that's their problem, and that's why that high line lost so much ground a couple laps ago, is that they're really not formed up together. You see there's a lot of gaps in between them, and obviously that's not really going to help their cause, so they need to get how that bottom line is kind of formed all to one, and even with that, they've lost a few cars down to the bottom, so...
I gotta say one thing here, Justin. Did you know that at all 25 cars in the first, because we're going to come and complete 10 laps here, all 25 cars still remain in the lead draft? Nobody has backed off.
I'm surprised we haven't seen maybe a couple guys lose it, but...
2 drivers that have actually fallen to the back have been Drew Eisman and Patrick McCusker that started in the top 10 tonight. They're way in the back, but they're still in the lead pack. Now that was the difference last night in the truck race. A lot of drivers stayed in the back, and they were well off the pace. They actually lost the lead draft. Here tonight, not the case. But I do believe Patrick McCusker, if he doesn't put the foot down to the pedal, he might be the first driver to lose it. A lot of jostling is back and forth up towards the front, though.
I think that's going to be the one difference, is just starting to see a lot of movement there. We keep mentioning it, how these cars don't really suck up as the 33 Jordan Teal blinks out once again. These cars don't suck up, and you're going to pay even more of a penalty if you lose the draft, which I think the 43 is at the moment. Because you're not going to be able to get as good of a suck up as you could in the trucks, and it's definitely going to hurt you even more if you're just a single car that's losing it.
Everybody's snaking along the front stretch here. Completed 11 laps already in this race. It's been clean double file racing, really. The bottom line, the guys who started practically on the inside row haven't really moved. Here comes Jordan Teal. He's getting a nice, good push. Challenging Paul Ross for 3rd from that 17 of Cameron Rich. Got a lot of group of guys on that high side to make it work. It's just a matter of how to make it work.
I'm a little surprised that we saw that aggressive side drafting into the 33 this early, but obviously they want to get up to the front pretty quickly here, and I think it looked like that was about as close as you could get as the 33 blinks out once again.
That would be one thing I'd be concerned about drafting here at Talladega with anybody is a car blinking. Jordan Teal actually has a high ping, had a high ping. Right now it's kind of maintained for the moment. It's not too severe, but it's besides the point. It's a little disturbing for a driver if you're drafting with somebody, because that can actually affect the draft if another driver blinks.
Absolutely, especially if you're the lead car like that.
Did you see Cameron Rich get a nice bumper shot coming off the exit of turn 2? Dangerous but effective, because here they come up towards the front, challenging for the top spot for the first time here tonight. They are getting there. That's the highest they've been so far, and it only took them 12 laps to do it. Cameron Rich pops out of line, maybe look towards the outside just a little bit, hugs right back in line. Luis Almaso still leads another lap, and there's a number 26 car of Chuck Sweeting, who actually started from 19th place, and he's found himself up there in the top 10, making his presence known.
Just an example of how quickly you can go from the back up to the front right there. Well, they're going to lose a little bit down the backstretch, it looks like. Not quite as good of a bump as you saw last time. That was pretty amazing how much of a bump they got and how quickly it got them towards the front there.
Yeah, if you can get the right bump, you can definitely carry legs down the back straightaway. Yeah, but it looks like right now that outside line is not 100% organized. And you can definitely tell it's not organized because they've lost the momentum. that they had.
Oh, there goes the 59 of Levi Zielinski. He's going to hit the 44, I believe.
Big
About
wreck.
5 cars involved in that one.
Oh.
I think that all started. Levi Zielinski got a bump in the wrong place on the rear bumper.
No, let's look at the replay because I thought he got loose then bumped.
That's 64 Chad Brown right on the bumper.
Not touching him there. Yeah, he
Oh,
wasn't
you're right.
touching him.
Yeah. And then got hit. Wow. Well, that just goes to show you how on edge these cars are. So.
Oh no!
That's...
Who else got taken out in that? I see Levi got taken out.
The 44 Matt Hackthorne, I know, got clipped in the rear there and just heavy impact into the wall. His night's most likely done.
Chad's Brown. Todd Smith makes it. Nathan Velez. I see Rusty Webb is kind of involved in that.
On board here with the 44.
Oh no, Todd Smith did not make it.
Nothing he could do there, and just to hard into the wall, and what a shame.
What a shame, but that could have been bigger.
Yeah.
Pit road is open for the first time here tonight under a caution flag. The leaders are going to come on in, and I assume under a caution flag here in an overcast setting, if the car is really handling that bad, you kind of almost want to take some tires. We'll have to keep an eye on it just to see who's going to be the fastest on pit road. Luis Salmasso gets the elected in the first pit stall since he won the pole tonight. And Salmasso, I think that could have been fuel only.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
All right.
Well, the good thing about Talladega, it being so big, is it gives these guys who have damage a little bit more time to repair it. But if you're a guy like Matt Hackthorne, I think it's a good chance that car is done for the night, unfortunately.
Three OG drivers, Salmasso, Paul Ross, Sam Close, teammates working together, taking fuel only. They come out 1, 2, 3. Johnny Thomas, the first driver to take 2 tires. Jordan Teals, another one, took 2 tires. Fuel only for Rusty Webb. 4 tires for Mike Stevens. Practically on back is 4 tires. So definitely a strategy call. I see Chad Brown, who's got some damage, who was involved in an accident. He stayed out to lead a lap. And another driver was Patrick McCusker, who's going to stay out. He was well in the back of the pack. I don't think he got any damage. No, he did not, so he's got a clean Ford Fusion Irish Spring. They might come down pit road this time, though. I think Chad Brown will, because he's got a lot of damage to that 64 machine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine him staying out like that.
All right, well, folks, I do assume Chad Brown's going to come down pit road this time by to get a lot of damage repair, and I think Patrick McCusker is going to follow him in.
Yep,
We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break live here on the 3Y TV. Don't go away for the start of round 2 here at Talladega.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway Live here on the 3Y TV. You are currently watching the 2018 Round 2 Race King Cup Series playoffs of the 3Y Racing League. We just had an accident in the trial area where Levi Zielinski got loose and tapped from behind. So handling is definitely playing a factor in these cars as the run goes on. After pit stops, Luis Salmaso, Paul Ross, Sam Close, 3 OG teammates up towards the front, all run for a championship. And they took fuel only under this caution flag. And Johnny Thomas on back, 2 tires. So we should see the 1 to go signal this time by here, Justin. And just in this overcast setting, Justin, I'm a little shocked that these cars are getting snappy loose like that. And the only time I'm seeing it is the tri-oval.
You and me both. I didn't expect to, see cars handle like that. But the one thing about the tri-oval, it's definitely the lightest part of the track where the cars get the lightest. So we kind of talked about it before. You saw with Drew Eisenman that we thought that was going to be the trouble spot down low on the bottom with the bumps. So obviously we're seeing that everywhere on the track, on the tri-oval. Can get you a little loose.
Yeah, most definitely. And if you guys were so on iRacing, we don't have radioactive, but I can read you a little bit of driver conversation that some of these drivers are having, as we did not receive the 1 to go signal yet. Levi Zielinski got on the radio and said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, the back end just came out in the tri-oval on me." And Matt Hackathorn actually replied to that and said, "How does that happen?" I have no idea, Matt. It surprised me. I had to say it just got tapped from behind, and it wasn't the guy behind me's fault. And Matt Hackathorn, man, behind the 8 ball again. So that's very unfortunate for those 2 drivers. And there he is right there. Man, look at that. Looking like a SK modified around Talladega. I agree, Matt. You are the 8 ball again. But last night you were not. I don't think you were. Actually, yeah, you were. You were flipping last night. My bad. But yeah, still had a good run, though. So caution lights still remain turned on here. I'm expecting a 1 to go signal this time by Talladega. Cautions are a little longer than it should be. Hopefully in the future iRacing does fix that. But nonetheless, Salmaso's out front here. Maybe we can get a quick interview with Levi Zielinski here. Maybe see how bad that car is. I know we talked to him. I'll have to try to pull him up here, unless Carlos wants to do it.
He's right. Oh.
Hey, Levi Zielinski, do you got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I know you were looking forward to a good night tonight. You're not a playoff driver anymore. You're just kind of just relaxing. And from the looks of it on the broadcast here, the back end just kicked out, and the guy behind you really didn't have anywhere to go or had time to react to it. Was that the case in your car, bud?
Yeah, so I backed off, car got hot. Going into the tri-oval, it just snapped loose. We had it saved, but Chad couldn't slow down in time, and it just hit us. I mean, not much you can do there, unfortunately.
That's very unfortunate. How much damage is there? Are you totally done for this race? Or
yeah, it was leaking in. It was leaking. Like I said, it's just, I don't know. Unfortunately, the setup wasn't like this when we tested it, and it's just like, I think it's because the overcast settings has just made the setup really loose in the tri-oval. I know I wasn't the only one that got loose there, but I was unfortunately in the wrong spot, I guess, for it to get loose, being on the high side. But I mean, there's nothing I could have done different. I mean, I saved it, but just got ran over, unfortunately.
As a driver, are you surprised that the cars are getting loose in the tri-oval?
I mean, we've had it before, but usually we've only had it if you get bumped there. You never had it where, nobody's touching you, so it's kind of a different atmosphere that you're not used to. I mean, you expect it to get a little loose there, but nothing like it is tonight. It's kind of a handful. I've seen Drew lost it almost. He actually went in the infield. and he almost lost it there. Todd, I was just talking to Todd, and Todd said the same thing. He almost lost it there in the tri-oval too.
Seems like the tri-oval is the biggest course of looseness and car handling here tonight. Hey, Levi, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. Best of luck next week at Martinsville.
Yeah, no problem. Just like to say, I'm sorry Matt got involved in that. I know he's a chase guy, so I mean that sucks for him. I'm sorry about that.
All right, you heard it, folks. That's Levi Zielinski, who's going to have to finish in the back of the pack tonight, 25th. And we thank Levi for talking with us this evening. We're about to go back green flag racing here at Talladega, so let's go ahead and reset the field for you. Luis Salamasso and his teammates are out front. Luis is actually going to take the high side around the racetrack. It's not uncommon here in three-ride racing. We've seen drivers last night in the truck race do that. Paul Ross is on the bottom side of the track. He's going to start in second place. Sam Close is behind Paul, who will start in third. Johnny Thomas in fourth. Jordan Teal in the 33 car is in fifth. Cameron Rich is in sixth. Rusty Webb in seventh. Mike Stevens in eighth. Wade Lear ninth. And rounding out the top 10, Nick Miller. Good to see Nick up towards the front in that Hooters Camaro here tonight. So good looking paint scheme for Nick. All right, Justin, they're coming to you for the green flag.
All right. Well, you do see that the 4 Luis Salmaso chose the outside lane. What you're most likely going to see here is that the 4 is going to get going, and the 18 is probably going to let him in on the inside line there. That's normally how they work it here at Talladega. Let's see if that's the case. Yep, there goes Luis. Green. There's the green flag, and we should see him drop to the inside after they cross the start and finish line. If they did it before, it would have been a penalty, and actually they worked it out with Johnny Thomas as well, so all 4 of those guys get on the inside line cleanly, and, well, there's really no outside line to speak of as we head into turn 1 here.
You may be asking yourself, well, how come Luis couldn't just turn right away down in front of Paul? Because you cannot change lanes before the start-finish line. Otherwise, it is a black flag, and I'm glad it worked out for those drivers up towards the front. It looks like, to me, Johnny's working very well with them 3 OG drivers. He's got 1 behind him. He's got 2 in front of him. And then you got Cameron Rich in 5th place in line. Everybody running the single file line bottom. Nobody actually kind of fanned out than expected.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they got that separated, and I'm kind of surprised as well that the outside line kind of dissipated that quickly. So we got the first wreck under our belts, and I'm sure that kind of calmed these guys down a little bit, as everyone's just kind of right on the bottom at the moment.
That wreck originally wasn't, should I say, wasn't really a driver's fault. The car just got loose and kind of got ran over from behind. But the driver from behind, he really couldn't do anything because of the reaction time. He wasn't quick enough. So, but yeah, a little bit of a surprise here that these cars are a little fanned out. Looks like Nick Miller's actually starting to catch Rusty Webb a little bit. So that's going to bring about 4 cars back into that mix.
Yeah. Got a much bigger pack. Now we see some guys pulling out there. The 9 of Nick Miller. Wade Lear in the 03 going to go with him. And that's about it. And these guys, just kind of surprisingly, still kind of sprung out throughout, or just behind this main pack. Got a little bit of a 4-car pack behind them, but other than that, kind of really spread out.
Nick is trying to make something happen here, and so far it's not really working out in his favor. He's going to need more cars to get help with, but I do believe he's going to need somebody in this front pack to get some help, because further on back, these cars are really spread out. Drew Eisenman on back practically is all spread out.
Right, Rusty Webb going to try and pull out there, and I don't think he's going to have any help. We'll see if Nick Miller will go with him. But I believe it's going to be a case of Rusty Webb will be going backwards here.
2 drivers took it to the garage here tonight, Matt Hackathorn and Levi Zielinski. They will finish 24th and 25th, respectively. Up towards the front, it looks like, who's that trying to sneak out outside the line there? He actually lost a spot.
That was Rusty Webb in the 88, who, yeah, I believe, lost about 2 spots there. I believe he was in front of Nick Miller. Can't make that work on your own, and I've seen some guys work the side draft to almost perfection, but even then it's almost impossible to do it by yourself.
two things here at Talladega. The first thing I'm going to bring up is what Levi brought up, temperatures. He said he got hot. You can definitely run pretty dang warm when you're in a pack like this, even when you're not pushing somebody. Justin, last time the truck race, did you experience any overheating issues?
I surprisingly did not, and even in practice, right on Levi's bumper, working with him last night, right on his bumper, never really even got close, so it was kind of surprising to me, and I know these cars can get a little bit more hot than the truck. I'm not sure if you had that issue, but no issues there last night.
The only time I had an issue last night was that final caution of the truck race last night. I was pushing the heck out of Peter. My goal was to make sure I always, whenever I bump draft him, I always hit him square, not in the quarter panels. And I certainly did that. But the problem is I overheated much quicker doing that, and I still never lifted. My water and oil was just underneath 300 degrees, if not 300 degrees last night. I'm surprised mine even lasted, because I know Kevin Finn, he blew up on the last lap. But nonetheless, right here, we're on board with Luis Salmaso looking back at the snake train. They're just snaking around Talladega.
Most of those packs, it seems like, have gotten connected up that were kind of strung out back there, and then you have just behind this main pack 3 cars there. I believe that's the 8 of Richard Lafferty, 87
Oh,
Richard.
big trouble!
1 car around.
Oh, no.
Rusty Webb involved in that. Nick Miller on his roof.
Nick Miller is having such a great run. He started from the back, just riding in line. And it's one of those cases to where I believe he got hooked.
Oh, yeah, big time. The 03 of Wade Lear. And he bounced back into the pack really quickly. I'm not sure who he tagged there and if they even got damage.
Man, can we ride on board with David Wilson? I mean, David Wilson, I think he's streaming on Twitch tonight.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, VR of all things. Because he almost got hit.
That'll scare the daylights out of you. As a guy who ran VR last night as well, I can definitely tell something like that will shake you up a little bit.
You ran VR last night?
I did, and it was working pretty well.
That was awesome. I think the one driver that really got damage out of that is going to be Drew Eisenman. Otherwise, Peter Short gotten through. I know David Wilson got through. Hanshaw got through. This looks like a 3-car accident here at Talladega. Man, Nick Miller really flipping like Ryan Newman would. Almost pulled a Matt Hackathorn. Eisman was not involved in getting a report.
I think.
I thought he was.
No,
I thought
someone. Yeah, someone. No, it was Drew. He did get involved. It was when the 9 came back and really flew through like the pack. I don't think he got damaged, but he definitely hit Nick Miller.
If anything, he got very lucky then.
Yeah. Yeah, no damage, but Nick Miller definitely hit him. iRacing just did not count it.
We got a number of drivers coming down pit road. Mainly the front of the pack guys have stayed out. I am counting. Let's see here. Who's all coming down to the pits here? I am counting 9 cars staying out. Drew Eisenman on back is coming in.
Man, did Drew Eisenman get lucky there? Like I said, windshield full of the 9 car and no damage he got out of it. So, very fortunate.
Tate Lytle, the first driver off pit road, fuel only. David Wilson, 2 tires. Chuck Sweeting, fuel only. Dylan Hickey, I do believe he took 2 tires. Drew Eisenman, 4 tires. Peter Short, 4 tires. Richard Hines, 4 tires. Todd Smith, 4 tires. So a lot of back of the pack guys, 4 tires, and a little bit of 2-tire and no fuel strategies. Holy smokes! Got to catch my breath just a little bit, but
Yeah.
man, that's one of the craziest things about Talladega that we probably really did not see last night in the truck race. Surprisingly, was getting clipped in the quarter panels there, Justin.
Yeah. Some people just had to worry about getting hit in the rear end, you know? No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
it was surprisingly, from what I saw, surprisingly clean last night. Not a whole lot of, aggressive side drafting or really, even though they could suck up a lot better, a lot of guys really kind of giving guys room and not getting too on them in terms of pushing.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's just I can't. Man, I guess it's so hard to really judge because at the same time you got to worry about net code as well. So, but since we're under the caution flag here at Talladega, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break since caution laps are a little longer than expected. Please don't go away because we're still got a lot more filled action here for the start of round 2 of the Race King Cup Series. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway for round 2 of the Race King Cup Series playoffs, and it's the start of round 2 here at Talladega. We just seen another accident unfold in turn number 3 involving Nick Miller, Rusty Webb. Those guys, Nick Miller especially on his roof of the car, and he's so far okay. He may be done for this race. There is a 6 laps down and you're done rule here for this evening's festivities. So they got a couple more laps to go. Wade Lear on pit road as well from that accident. So I do believe, looking at the pace car here, we have the 1 to go signal. It's actually a much quicker caution this time. Hey, how about that? So let's go ahead and reset the field here for you. Luis Salmasso stayed out. He's going to be your race leader. Paul Ross is going to be in second place. Looks like Luis is electing the outside row. Johnny Thomas is going to start in third. Sam Close is in fourth. Cameron Rich is going to start in fifth. Jordan Teal in sixth. Seventh place, Mike Stevens. Eighth place, Kyle Henshaw. Ninth place, Tate Lytle. And running out the top 10, David Wilson. First driver that went down pit road, that came out of pit road, was Tate Lytle. He's currently in the 9th position. He is on fuel only. The first driver on tires is going to be Dylan Hickey in 11th with 2 right side tires. All right. So we had 2 incidents, Justin, so far. One of handling issues, and the other one was a bump drafting issue. Are you nervous right now on drafting here at Talladega, and we're not even past halfway?
Well, the bumping kind of didn't surprise me there. I mean, that was kind of into a corner, which is kind of the unwritten rule there that you're not supposed to do that. But either way, definitely up there on the high side on the tri-oval is kind of worrying because I had never seen that before, and have a feeling we're gonna see it again because we've already seen an issue through the tri-oval twice. So hopefully it doesn't take any more cars out. But unfortunately, as we get later into the race and the intensity starts to pick up a little bit more, can't quite say what's gonna happen. So.
All right, Justin, they're coming off turn 4. We're going to see our second restart of the night here tonight at Talladega. Luis Almaso starting the high side. He's going to be your race leader. Bring him to the green.
Yes, sir. Well, we saw them play to perfection last time, letting people in the line, and have a feeling it's going to be the same thing here. As Luis is off, green flag is out, and once again, he'll have to wait before the start-finish line, or after the start-finish line to get in, and actually Sam Close looked like he's going to be able to get in front of team owner Paul Ross there. So, once again, they played to perfection.
Check that out. 3OG, 1, 2, 3 working together. And you got Johnny Thomas, who's sitting in 4th place, Cameron Rich in 5th. So, and everybody getting single file. And I actually thought everybody was just kind of playing it safe until a bump drafting went wrong. So, realistically, a single file racing doesn't mean it's the most boring racing, but it can actually start to lead up some great action on the speedway right now. Right now, these drivers are just trying to, playing a little strategy a little bit, kind of just taking it easy until it's necessary to go toward, to really race against each other.
Exactly, and especially when you're in a playoff scenario, that's most likely the safest route, is just trying to ride along, log laps, and I'm not really surprised at all that we're seeing this right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And so far, I'm seeing Jordan Teal actually separating himself from Kyle Hanshaw just a little bit. Teal's still having a blinking issue, but it's not really affecting other drivers on the racetrack. Race Control has not gotten on the radio about it, so that's actually a good thing for Jordan. I see the top 5 cars just run single file at the moment. Then you got the big old train and coming forward. Top 6, excuse me, are in the front row. Then you got 7th on back. That's the biggest train of the pack.
And, one thing on iRacing I haven't quite seen here is single file racing put up towards the top. And I'm curious whether we're going to see that at some point here tonight. I've never seen it really work. So right now, everybody, like you said, just kind of single file. It looks like those 2 trains are catching up with each other.
Just a little bit. When they do, I am not seeing anybody poking on a line just yet. But I don't. Oh, maybe we do got someone poking on a line. That's Peter Short in the back of the pack.
He has the boss there, Drew Eisenman behind him. So.
Yes, he does. And I thought Eisenman was done.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, he got so lucky. Getting no damage, it looks like, from Nick Miller there. Hitting the wall and just being forced back out into traffic.
He most certainly was. And Peter Short and Drew Eisman, the EisenTech guys, are really working well together, trying to get that high line going. Their other teammate of EisenTech Enterprise is the number 17 of Cameron Rich. And man, Sam Close thought about going on the outside on attacking his teammate. He still very well might, unless he's just trying to get some air to that engine, he might be overheating just a little bit, and that can cause a problem because when you're not lined up in line, a driver behind you would have no choice but to take advantage of the situation. So far, it's so good for Sam Close in that number 5. Now, he had a terrible night last night in Talladega in the trucks, but he's trying to make up for it here in the Cup Series. Has yet to been to victory lane this season, even though he's been one of the most competitive drivers on the racetrack. He's just trying to get it done, trying to finally visit victory lane.
And really is surprised that he has not visited victory lane yet this season.
That clock is just ticking louder and louder to tell these guys that it's time to race because we're getting closer to that halfway point. We're only on lap 34. The halfway point is on lap 47. Still a little ways to go yet. But Justin, realistically, if you're like guys like Johnny Thomas, do you want to try to go for that max points? Do you want to just sit in line for a little bit until it's time to go? When do you go?
That's going to be the magical question. If you're a man like Johnny Thomas, who won back at the moment on the outside looking in, I think you're going to have to go for max points here. And if you're a guy, staying really all those guys that are kind of on the border are up at the front, with the exception of, I guess Matt Hackthorne, unfortunately out of the race. So he's going to take a beating here tonight in points, but for a lot of these other guys, they're going to be able to capitalize and possibly make their playoff chances advancing to the next round really good.
The driver I thought I would see up towards the front here tonight, but so far I have not seen him up towards the front battling. It's the number 26 of Truck Sweeting. I thought we were seeing him in the top 5 earlier that had a nice run going, but so far here in the back of the pack, man, who popped out of line got really loose there.
They got really close, the 76 and the 77. I thought someone was going to get turned there, but they all jump out to the outside line and try and carry the momentum up there.
And that could have been bigger, but I see Eisman, he's trying to work with his teammates, the 22 back there of Peter Short. So far, man, I can't, it just seemed like we started with more cars in this race, and it just seems like half the field's taken out, but that's not the case.
Yeah, and sorry, they just got really close back there.
Yep.
It's good to see, though, that, people, after seeing that first wreck, it seems like they've really kind of calmed down and kind of just fell in line single file, because they know that it could strike again if they start getting racing like that.
This back of the pack is getting a little scary just a little bit. I see the front 6 are really relaxing at the moment. But when you go a little further back here, it's like just racing. You got the Eisentech guys who are just trying to make their presence known, trying to get up towards the front. But the problem is nobody wants to work with them, and it's just the Eisentech guys working together, but they can't make up the ground. So if you can't make up the ground, what do you do?
That's the $1 million question, I guess. Okay, they're Peter Short and Drew Eisman I see back there. They're really trying, and if you're a guy like Peter Short, you definitely want to going to be up towards the front once those playoff points start paying out. Because, you're 13 points to the good. Sure, that sounds pretty good, but that's not safe by any means.
Here they come now. We got that outside road. We got a group. We got 4 guys. Let's see if we can get nose to tail. Don't bump draft too aggressively. Let's see if we can go to the front and challenge them boys up towards the front. You got Peter Short leading it, then Drew Eisenman, then Tate Lytle, then Dylan Hickey. Let's see what we can do here. So far, they're not 100% lined up back and forth. Looks like we got some more
John
players.
Thomas jumped
Johnny
out there.
Thomas. Look at that. More drivers on the outside row than the inside row. You got 3 drivers working together. That is the group of the 3OG racing team being committed to each other. And here comes Johnny Thomas on the high side. So far, nobody has been able to relinquish Luis Salmasso and the race lead. Johnny Thomas might be the first guy to do it.
And what they have going on right now is they're really formed up.
Paul was by himself, just back and forth, loosey-goosey, man. He had to back off, not totally to the back bumper of the number 5 of Sam Close. Johnny Thomas is getting some heavy-duty push from the 17 and the 33 there. Even though they're not 100% nose to tail, the draft is still working. They got heavy players behind them now, ready to go for the race lead. Here comes Cameron Rich giving the bump draft to the 83 of Johnny Thomas. Give him a heavy-duty push down into turn number 3. They're finally going to go side by side with the race leader as they head down into the corner of the racetrack. Luis Salmasso doing everything he can. The foot is down onto the pedal, and he can't go any faster. But the draft is even much faster on the higher line.
Oh, boy. Catch your breath there, man. That's just about side by side for that lead. Johnny Thomas is so close, can almost taste it. He's going to get really close here as we enter turn 1. They're going to have to get really formed up and really close down this back straightaway if that high line wants a chance at the lead as we enter 3.
I had a little bit of MRN radio in me, and so hopefully I made it exciting for all you race fans out there and guys who like watching 3 Wide every single week. But look at that little bump draft. The 18 on the bottom side is giving to the 5. I did see Tate Lytle drop to the inside to help the 3OG boys, and so far it's brought him into the top 5. The outside line has actually dissipated just a little bit, and the reason why they're racing aggressively so far right now is because we're coming down to 7 laps to go until the halfway bonus point. And if you finish first after the halfway, and by the way, we do not throw a caution for that, by the way, it still remains green. You come across that finish line after 47, that is 10 bonus points for you and for the championship. It is getting mighty racy right now as we're coming down to that halfway bonus.
And that outside line starting, it looks like getting a little bit more connected. Cameron Rich jumped up maybe just a little bit to cool it off, but they need to be nose to tail if they want to make any sort of headroom. But I think the problem is, obviously you lose some of the draft there and they start falling back a little bit, but push for too long, talked about it a little earlier, start pushing too long and the car can start overheating. And I think that's going to be a big issue that we've seen here tonight. I've already seen a few guys have issues with that. And it's only going to get worse as we get later into the run.
On board right now, he's getting a heavy push from Cameron Rich.
They're moving.
They're moving to the front right now. Finally getting to the door of Luis Salmaso. Salmaso has a little bit of an edge on the inside line in the corners of the racetrack. He's going to have to start carrying some legs or need some assistance from Cameron Rich. Let's see what they can do here. Looks like Cameron finally gets to the back bumper, gets a nice, good push down the back straight. They're finally side by side for the top spot. Here we go for the race lead for the first time under green flag conditions. Johnny Thomas versus Luis Salmaso. It looks like Salmaso had a better run in the middle of the corner with the help from Sam Close, and I don't think Johnny can get to the line in time again.
No, but the one thing I saw down that back straightaway is Cam made sure that when he laid the bumper to him, he made sure he was square on the rear bumper, that 83, and I think that's going to be the key there, as, man, that got really tight with Sam and Johnny there.
Oh, man, this racing, I mean, I thought...
they're going to get a heck of a run down this back straightaway, all lined up.
And here we go. Look at that punt and a push towards the race lead. Rich is giving Thomas still trying to fight for it. He wants that 10 bonus points. He just wants to get by that number 4. If he can get by that number 4 of Salmaso, he can hop to the inside and make that outside even work harder to try to get that race lead. Because look at the gap between the 33 and the 22. It's just not there. And it'll need more help to get that race lead. Here we go to the line. Can Johnny Thomas beat him to the line? Not going to happen.
But that was about the closest they've gotten all night there, towards that, or on that high side. And they're starting to close up a little bit more behind them. They just need that whole line together to be able to work together to get up towards that front.
2 1/1000ths of a second at the line last time by for Johnny Thomas and Luis Salmaso. Cameron Rich is working very hard in trying to help Johnny Thomas get that race lead. He's got Jordan Teal right behind him, which is another Ford. Otherwise, up towards the front, it's all surrounded by Camaro ZL1s. Looks like the outside line falling back just a little bit now. They need to get a little bit organized. Peter Short, his foot is to the gas pedal. He's just not sucking up to the 33 of Jordan Teal.
Yeah, that's been their biggest problem tonight, that high line, is they've just gotten too strung out, and that's what basically kills the line is, you know, people start getting too strung out, have to find holes in the bottom and try and regroup and do it another go.
I see what Cameron Rich is doing right there. It's an old technique from my own personal textbook, but it's not like I invented it. I'm sure other drivers have figured it out on how to try to get to the back bumper. Right now, we're coming down to 2 laps to go when they do get to the start-finish line until the halfway bonus. So far, Salmaso, Close, and Ross are working really well together.
This has been the best they've been down the straightaway in terms of how close they've been bunched up on that high side. Man, it got really close again there at the line, but I think this is going to be the run they're going to be able to have to get Johnny up towards that front and possibly in front of the 4.
1 1/100th of a second at that time by, much closer for the top spot. 2 laps remaining till that halfway bonus point. And folks, like in real life NASCAR, we will not, and I repeat, not throw a caution flag for it. We will stay green for it. Johnny's still trying to get it.
So close and almost taste it, just needs a little bit more help from the line behind.
Well, if you want, Justin, you can have the honors calling them to the for a white, kind of like a green-white checkered here for the halfway point.
Yes, sir. It'll be awarded this next time by. Let you catch your breath there a little bit, Tanner. But all right, now that outside line is starting to dissipate a little. Jordan Teal gets to the bottom side. That might be to get a run up towards that front on the high side. Nope. Cameron Rich jumps to the bottom side and leaves Johnny Thomas to dry He'll have to try and find a hole, but I don't see one that'll be able to pop into, and basically handing the stage win to Luis Almaso at this point. Johnny's going to be able to find a hole in 4th place there, and it'll only be Tate Lytle stuck up there on that high side with no hole to get into, trying to side draft the best he can. Johnny going to pop out once again on the front straightaway. Will not be able to get by Paul Ross there, and it'll be Luis Almaso who gets the 10 points there at the line. And it'll be Sam Close in 2nd, awarded 9. Paul Ross awarded 8. Johnny Thomas 7. Cameron Rich 6. And Peter Short will round out the top 5 there.
And just like that, the drivers that were trying to get that halfway bonus point, didn't get it. Time to fall back in line, because now that outside lane is no more, and the only driver that's leading that outside row is the 56 of Tate Lytle all by himself. Man, that was some pretty good clean racing right there here at Talladega. It just goes to show how difficult this aero draft package is. Jordan Teal. Don't speed! I think he sped.
Yeah. Good chance.
I could have sworn he was speeding, because it's 55 miles an hour. Oh, yeah, he was speeding.
And that's... I don't think we've talked about... I don't think that's one thing we've talked about here tonight, is how difficult it is to get to pit road. You're going from about 200 miles an hour, and you need to slow it all the way down to 55 miles an hour. And easier said than done.
Yeah, and Jordan Teal's all by himself, and you want a drafting partner. There's no question in that, and so far he's a Lone Ranger. He will go last. Oh, we got more takers. Here comes the 3 OG boys. Here comes Johnny Thomas. New race leader for the first time under green flag conditions, Cameron Rich. Man, and how difficult, Justin, is it to go from 200 miles an hour or 195 miles an hour to 55?
Oh, it's pretty difficult. I mean, having to, work that brake pedal, especially you don't want to get it too hard that you start sliding out the tires, smoking them, and possibly flat spotting them. And the scariest part is possibly spinning out that car, hitting someone else, and then causing just a big pileup on the entrance to pit road.
There had been a lot of good team communication under this caution flag, because actually there's one driver I'm not seeing in this mix, and that is Samuel Close. What happened to Mr. Sam by himself?
Oh, Cameron.
Uh-oh, getting a report on the 77. 77?
So this is with the Eisentech guys.
Oh man, either spin it out or just kind of get back on track, and that's what Drew Eisenman did. He was going towards pit road, but he came in hot and heavy, got in the binders, and they just got loose. Otherwise, he would have hit his own teammate.
Yep, had to abort that run, and sometimes it's sometimes it's what you have to do.
Now I'm gonna go back on pit road here. I'm just gonna make sure Samuel Close did not overshoot his pit box. Something tells me he did. Guess what? He did, ever so slightly. It cost him a lot of track time on position. Let's get Sam on screen here, if we can, compared to his other teammates. There's Sam by himself. And do we have an onboard where his teammates are at? Like if we have an onboard of Sam.
So he's exiting turn 2
right there. Yeah, see, they're way down in turn 3 and 4. Ever so slightly, you miss your pit box, ever so slightly, even by an inch. That's the time that costs you on pit road, and that is huge for Sam Close, but very unfortunate. Drew Eisenman finally hits pit road all by himself. No tires, just gas, probably the right call at the moment, just hoping for a caution flag.
And I think that's what Sam's going to have to hope for as well. I'm not seeing a whole lot of help around him at the moment.
Top 3 stayed out.
Yeah, that stayed out. Richard Hines, Richard Lafferty, and Dylan Hickey there.
Do you see Patrick McCusker, Chad Brown, Nathan Velez, Tate Lytle, Peter
Oh, yeah.
Short all have stayed out. Salmaso is actually the first guy. Actually, they're all on the lead lap, I believe. Lionel's
Yeah.
the first guy leading that back right there.
Yeah, that came to pit road. So actually the top 6 have stayed out there. All right, well, Luis going to try that high side and see if he can't get in front of the 56. Got some pretty good help right there. And for once, that the inside lane is the one that's not formed up quite all the way. See if Luis can make any moves. Get up in front of that 56, and absolutely, and 83 in the 4 will be able to get in front. It'll be the 18 who was stuck on the outside there.
Yeah, most definitely, and they're working that, and it looks like they kind of left Paul out to dry a little bit there. I don't know if he kind of have to, but Johnny, he really doesn't have teammates surrounding him, so he's just kind of going with the pack here. Now Paul Ross is actually going to slip backwards because of this, but he's going to hop right back in line in front of Dave Wilson back there. So once Richard Hines, Richard Lafferty, Dylan Hickey, Patrick Gusker, Chad Brown, Nathan Lespitt, this will be your lead pack.
Unfortunately there for Paul, I think that Luis and Johnny realized that bottom line was forming up really quickly, and they weren't going to have another opportunity to slot in front, so they had to take it when they could. And unfortunately, Paul was the guy that got left out there. Only lost 3 spots there, so still in this pack, but unfortunately not with his teammate and Johnny Thomas.
Looks like everybody's kind of remaining single file. I think this group right here that we have eyes on right now is actually committed to work together as a whole big group, because they actually pitted together and came out together. I think Tate Lytle actually pitted on his own, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he's still well with this lead pack.
And Jordan Teal, who came by himself, well, actually, 3 of the 6 guys who did not pit just came down pit road, and Jordan Teal now by himself. So it was the 8 of Richard Lafferty, 87 of Richard Hines, and the 91 of Dylan Hickey who just hit pit road. And this will cycle this pack that we have eyes on to the lead.
I still say, Justin, looking at the laps completed so far, we're going to have to see one more pit stop before this thing's over with, because on my approximate calculations, it's about 30 to 32 laps. Maybe you can save a little more in the draft, but like for instance, Luis Salmaso, he's the guy that's using the most fuel out there, because he's the guy that's out front. He's on the throttle. He's using the more gas. Guys behind him can use 3/4 throttle and save fuel.
I think their last run, though, was around 27 to 30 laps, so I definitely can't save 10 laps here at Talladega, but you're definitely right. We're going to have to see one more pit stop. The question is going to be whether it comes under green or under the yellow flag.
If it does come under green, it's going to be extremely critical, and that's going to be your money pit stop for sure, because you can't beat yourself on pit road.
Absolutely. Well, this is this main pack. Let's take a look at kind of where everybody else is hanging. Drew Eisenman and Todd Smith. A good bit behind this main pack. Those two are together, and just a little bit behind that is Sam Close. That gives you an idea of how much time Sam Close lost by just barely overshooting his pit box.
Sam's going to need a caution for sure, man. That's
Absolutely.
very unfortunate for Sam.
The good news for Sam, though, is he's going to have a little bit of help with the 3 guys that just came down pit road.
Oh, Peter Short. I thought he was going to go to the outside line, but I guess not. Peter,
Lapping the 43 of Patrick McCusker here.
Peter, you can't scare me like that, buddy. Get me excited.
And the one thing I've kind of noticed about some of these guys, we saw it a few laps ago, kind of some of those guys going out of bounds under the yellow line there. I don't think one thing we've emphasized here tonight, Tanner, is really when you're behind these cars, you can't see what's in front of you. I don't know if we want to get an onboard with some of these guys when they're tucked up right behind a guy, maybe Johnny Thomas, but really you can't see anything in front of you.
Yeah, what can you see? I mean, I can't see in front of some muscle there. I mean, you're kind of just practically. Here's Paul Ross. You still can't see. Even we're on the hood. We're on the actually on top of the car. Here's another view right on the bumper. You really can't see much. You're practically just following the 26 car and doing what the 26 does. So if there's any kind of smoke, you ain't gonna have a lot of time to check up a little bit. That's one of the craziest things about plate racing. One of the risks you have to take when you drive plate racing is you just don't know what's gonna happen. You just gotta follow the guy in front of you, and even if you don't trust him, you kind of have to trust him.
Yep. And one thing, crazy enough, it does too. If you're up far enough on a guy, you really can't see that yellow line either. So some of those guys you see dipping below the yellow, you really can't see that line when you're tucked up behind a guy. As you kind of just saw Paul Ross do. So you're trying to follow the guy in front of you, and sometimes they kind of lead you below the yellow, and you kind of have to go, oh, okay, well, we'll get back above that now and carry on.
I do believe if the winner's going to come out of here tonight, it's going to be within this group right here that we have eyes on at the moment. Salmasso has been the dominant car up towards the front all day. We've had a couple challengers. One of the biggest challengers for that race lead has been Johnny Thomas in second place, and here we go. There's Chad Brown and Nathan Velez, who are going to go a lap down here tonight. They're still trying to work together, but that pack is behind Velez. So hopefully those two drivers can actually work together and stick with the lead pack. There's that pack.
Yeah, and I'd imagine when that pack gets a little bit closer, they may jump to the high side. But the one thing they have going for them is they have 2 cars in that pack, so it's going to be a little less time or a little bit more time before that main pack comes and gets them. And should a caution comes out, that's going to mean the world.
It'll mean a world for staying close for sure. And it'll bring back into the mix, and he can try to get towards the front. But right now, he's going to need some kind of caution flag to do it. Right now, the greatest thing for Sam Close is that, as you see right here goes Velez, Chad Brown. They're on the high side of the racetrack, showing respect to the leaders. They're going to go a lap down. Hopefully, they can blend right back in. It looked like back bumper. Hashtag Duke64 of Chad Brown. Still surprising he's running pretty good out there. He's actually still running minimal speed. Maximum speed, excuse me.
It kind of looked like my rear bumper last night.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Driver we have not talked about that's actually in that mix. You want to know who it is?
I have to imagine. Might be David Wilson. We haven't really talked a whole lot about him.
Yeah, it's another one. That's for sure. He's doing VR.
Kyle Hanshaw, probably.
Yep. How about the one behind Kyle Hanshaw that has not found trouble? Minus P's
Mike
and Q's?
Stevens.
Mr. Mike Stevens in the Coors Light Toyota, not finding any trouble. Minus P's and Q's, riding with the lead pack, riding in 10th place right now. And if he sticks with the lead pack, he has an opportunity at the end to try to win this thing. So good job, Mike Stevens' part. Good job on Kyle Hanshaw's part, as well as David Wilson. David Wilson for PBG, that's Pilot Performance Group, having a good solid run after starting 24th here tonight. He is a rookie, and he's remaining in 7th place.
Well, for their sake, those 3 lap cars have kind of caught up with each other, and Patrick isn't going to quite lose the draft, so unfortunately those guys are 1 lap down. And they'll kind of just hang on to the end of this pack. And now we see Jordan Teal gonna go 2 laps down now at this point. Excuse, maybe, no, only 1 lap down.
Yeah, speaking of the 1 lap down scenario right now, did you know behind the lead pack, there's 2 races going on. You got the lead pack, and then you got Chad Brown, Nathan Velez, and Patrick McCusker racing for the Lucky Dog if a caution comes out.
Well, you can add Jordan Teal's name into that too, because he's about to fall back there.
So we have practically a 10-car battle in the lead pack for the race lead. Actually, nobody's battling for the race lead, but still a 10-car lead pack. And then you got 4 drivers battling out for the lucky dog. Can Jordan Teal hopping right down there? If he can, that'll be a great, smart thing. He most certainly will. So this is another race that's going on. You just don't want to be the caution, otherwise the lucky dog ain't going to be given to you. And Jordan, don't go to the outside. You're battling them guys behind you, buddy. Dead
And
dog.
now he's going to lose a spot in line. He's going to have to go all the way to the back and hope that he does not lose this draft. I'm not really sure what the idea was there. And yeah, he's going to lose his draft now, I have to believe.
That's not a good thing. I strongly suggest that he should have just stayed in line.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to pass here at Talladega, in these
Oh, he's
cup
coming
cars.
to pit road. He's going to speed again, I believe. Yeah,
yeah. Well, 4 cars just turned into 3 cars. Battle for the lucky dog then.
Yeah, I believe he just Alta forward. So, well, that's going to put 19 cars in the race, 16 cars on the lead lap. Chad Brown, Nathan Velez, Patrick McCusker, all 1 lap down. Then you're going to have Jordan Teal, Rusty Webb, Wade Lear, Nick Miller, Matt Hackthorne, and Levi Zielinski, who have all called it quits here tonight.
Very unfortunate for those drivers. A lot of those drivers are just racing for honor, trying to get that victory lane one last time before the season's end. But up towards the front here, we haven't talked about him in a little while now. It's been Luis Salmasso dominating. Oh no, Tate!
I think he hit one of those bumps down there. Got that car a little loose. I don't know if we can get a replay on that, but
I haven't seen it in a while now, but it's certainly been coming into play at times here tonight. Tate Lytle on the 56. Yeah.
Wow. That, you know what? That looked really reminiscent of Alex Bowman here in 2016. How the car just got up a little bit and then just about lost it.
Wow.
What a save. So that's 3 drivers that's gotten hit by that tonight. That triable.
Showing a different paint scheme on my screen compared to Carlos' screen, but that's all right. It's still the 56, but nonetheless, Luis Salmasso has a dominating performance here at Talladega. Has led 59 laps, as you see on top of the screen here tonight. We might have a driver popped out of line. That's Peter Short. I don't think he's going to do anything because he doesn't have helpers. He does not. Everybody's single file, and we should be coming down to it within the next good 10 laps until we see another set of green flag pit stops as we ride on board with Tate Lytle once again. I didn't know that.
Oh, Paul Ross under the yellow line there once again.
Well, Paul, we're not trying to pass below the yellow line, are we?
I hope not.
Maybe next year, production truck says. What? Oh man, I hope
Producer's
not.
just giving away his plans over there for next year, but
Well, I know my plans for next year is driving the Cup car, but can't really comment on the team I'm driving for next season. I know it's not my team. I'll say that much. Nope, can't tell you, Carlos. But yeah, we got this pack still single file out towards the front. And it's been practically a very patient game with these drivers. You know, I know iRacing, a lot of people call it a game, but to me it's more of a simulator than an actual video game. And a video game is NASCAR Heat 3. This is a simulator. And for these guys to show the amount of patience, Justin, that they have shown here tonight is quite incredible.
yes, definitely. It seems like a lot more patience than we saw last night in the Truck Series, where it seemed like most of that race was just kind of side by side for most of the night. But the one thing about that is that they did not really get close to the door and side drafting a whole lot, where tonight we saw a lot of that in the beginning, and then we saw a wreck which really had nothing to do with it, and then everybody started calming down and just, you know, riding along, which again didn't really I expected them to do here tonight and obviously they're going to continue to do it. I have to imagine, even though it's 25 laps to go, we're going to see it up until that final pit stop, and then I have a feeling that's when everyone's going to get racing.
I most certainly believe that will happen. I think they're going to be even more aggressive because last night there was a late race caution in the Truck Series, Justin. You were in it, and I was actually up towards the front battling with them guys. There was a lot of aggressive bump drafting, but we didn't spin each other out, thankfully. But there was a lot of aggressive bump drafting just trying to make the draft work. I can only imagine how excruciating the draft is here tonight for these drivers for the bump drafting, trying to get a group of guys to work together. And it looks like they're kind of separating themselves just a little bit or just taking it easy.
I was going to say, I think someone might have checked up there in that front and kind of just accordion down. It didn't look like it was enough to kind of separate everyone completely. Just kind of strung the field out a little bit.
Coming down to it, Justin, I tell you what, would you right now be getting on the radio trying to work out a plan with whoever you're going to plan on running with out there? Looks like Tate Lytle maybe getting a little air to his engine. I can't foresee him jumping out of line without help.
Well, you know, last time it was about 30 laps, so 7 laps, maybe. I mean, from what we saw last night in the trucks, from what I know, it seemed like guys were kind of making their plans really late. And I'm not sure if that trend will continue, but I'd strongly advise getting your plans worked out quickly here.
I would too, because last night Todd Smith was my teammate last night in the Truck Series for PBG, and he was really nowhere near the front the pit with me for green flag pit stops. He actually fell to the back, lost in track position. So realistically, 3OG, I was actually working with Paul Ross, just kind of drafting with him, and some 3OG members came over the radio or on the text thing and just kind of showed me out what the plan was if I wanted to work with them. And I said, well, I'm up towards the front here, so absolutely. Sorry to my teammates, I didn't 100% work with them, but sometimes you got to control your own destiny to try to put yourself in that position to try to win the race. And that's certainly what I tried to do, and it worked out. I still think it worked out, even though I didn't win the race. It just still worked out. So I would be getting on the radio right now saying, hey, how much fuel are we putting in the car? What are we going to do here? Are we going to take 2 tires? Are we going to take no tires? What's the plan? So that's very important. That communication is key when it comes to restrictor plate racing, especially when you're listening to your automated spotter, or if any of these guys have a real-life spotter. Always trusting your spotter. And always understanding your surroundings and make sure you're giving enough driver enough room as possible.
Absolutely, and I'm thinking it may play a little difference tonight. You gotta really have to make sure you have how much gas you're gonna be taking on this final stop. Really kind of, coordinated amongst the team, because as we get later, if you don't fill it up all the way, that can mean seconds, almost like we saw with Sam Close. It can be that drastic of a difference. Because I think
Most certainly can be.
I'm thinking they're probably going to be coming in within the next 5 laps. That's going to leave probably around 15 to go, and obviously you don't need to fill it up all the way. You can if you want, but if someone chooses to take a little bit less, it can mean seconds.
Hey, check that out. Cameron Rich on the high side by himself.
Wow.
Is Cameron going to be the Pod Piper to try to go to the frontier?
Man, that was pretty incredible. He made up 3 spots by himself. I don't know if there was a checkup, and he just decided he didn't want to check up, and man, he flew to the front. Here comes Paul Ross, too. What in the world's happening?
I don't know. I mean, Paul just seen what Cameron just did, and Paul's like,
oh my goodness.
So Paul's going to the front all by himself. Man, this is crazy.
What in the world?
Man, is Luis saying
I'm thinking, I know that's been a strategy of some people where they, wow. He must have been saving.
No, Johnny's like, let me try this.
He must have been saving. I have to imagine he was probably 3/4 to half throttle with how quickly those guys were coming up.
How in the heck do you save when you're leading a pack of Talladega?
Well,
how in the bloody world do you save?
Technically, you could still just, half throttle it, and if those guys choose to stay lined up, it could work out for you. But obviously, some of those guys chose to just, they knew what was happening, and they just let it all hang out, and they got 3 spots, or if you're Paul, I think it was about 4 spots there.
Holy macaroni, Paul Ross really making up some heavy ground by himself, probably just due to the fact that Luis was trying to save some gas. And in a way, it worked because guess what? 3OG is back 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah. I didn't understand what was happening there until you brought that up, Tanner, that he may have been saving.
Man, Paul, if I was out there right now, you dang right I would have drafted with you to the front like that if that was the case. Holy crap. And Cameron, too. I mean... Oh,
Here comes Paul. All right, here comes 3OG.
3OG. Looks like it's just those 2 cats. Don't speed. 55, boys.
All right. So it was about 27 laps there that they decided to run.
And
but
from
actually
here,
yeah.
They can make it to the end.
Yes. So 17 laps to go is when we saw the first band of cars coming in.
Great stops by 3OG. I gotta look. I sincerely hope not. Maybe I'm just getting everybody's hopes up at the moment.
Oh, I think if you're worried about Luis speeding, I think he may have just been waiting.
Well, I actually thought he overshot his pit box, but nonetheless, Salmasso and Ross have somebody to work with, and that's a 26 car we haven't really spoken of too much here tonight, who has wins under his belt in the regular season. That's Chuck Swing in the 26.
Yeah, was able to come down with those 3OG boys. And
lead lap cars headed to pit road now.
Oh, Tate overshoots a stall there. Has to back up a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't cost him too much.
That's probably going to cost him just as much as Sam Close.
Peter Short just about spun the car out there. No, he's going to be able to be good. He's going to be able to be with these guys.
Man, how about Peter Short, man? He's actually going to be intact with his teammate, Cameron Rich. Cameron Rich led that last time by.
Oh, it's going to be really close. Yeah, I was going to say, it may be really close if these guys can hold the lead. These guys are coming pretty quick. I don't think it's going to happen. But they will still be grouped together. No, they will definitely come out with the lead. Difference is going to be the speed, obviously.
Here's the problem right here. I shouldn't say here's the problem. Look at Paul Ross getting the draft right here from behind of Chuck Sweeting. And then you got Luis Salmasso. That's a 3-car draft. Can these cats that are hooked together, unlike the guys up towards the front a little bit who are not 100% hooked together, can they catch them?
I was going to say, well, they're starting to close in a little bit now, but yeah, that might be a worry. They're going to have to really work together and hope that maybe these guys start racing up in front of them. Can't be... Oh, man. Chuck Sweeting just about lost it there. They're going to really have to work together.
Look at Johnny Thomas go.
To the outside, he's got Kyle Hanshaw, or excuse me, Tate Lytle coming with him, the sister team there. And this is exactly what those 3 behind them wanted to see.
Man, oh man, this racing looks like the 2-car tandem from back in the day. Look at that.
Oh, boy. It really is, because it's just... Exactly, this is what these 3 cars behind them wanted to see. Them racing side by side, and really nobody coming out a victor at the moment. This is just gonna let those 3OG guys catch up and close in.
Oh man, we're starting to brew up now here, Justin. It's a fat battle for the top spot. Thomas actually led at the line for the first time here tonight. He's battling with Cameron Rich.
Yep. Everybody can make it to the end, and this will be the race for the win right here.
Man, they got cats behind just trying to catch up. Get that 3OG pack back there along with Chuck Sweeting. Still a little ways to go to the end. Now a caution would shake everything up, but man, oh man, it's a heavy-duty battle, and I don't think Johnny and Tate are going to give it up.
No, sir, but the one thing you're going to have to worry about is when these guys start overheating. I have to imagine Johnny and Tate are going to be overheating at some point, if not already overheating, as it looks like they're starting to back off. So they're going to siphon back in line there.
Oh no,
And
this is not a good thing for 3OG and Chuck Sweeting because now they're single file. That's actually a stronger draft than what they have.
well, I think the difference right now maybe is, there's still a few gaps in between them where the 3OG and Chuck Sweeting are nose to tail, and
here's
really
what
they're
I would
gonna.
do. Sorry to interrupt you. Here's what I would do: use that 87 as a pick to draft up towards the front instead of going around him.
Well,
he's a clean car.
Even though I think they're right there, they're not too far behind this main pack. So,
well, if they can get to the inside, man, that'll help out with the 87 of Richard Hines.
They're gonna lose a lot of time.
Yeah, they should have just used the 83 or 87 as a pick because now they're gonna lose time. They should have just kind of pumped the throttle just a little bit, use the 87 as a pick, use a 4-car draft because the 87 was closer to that back bumper than anybody. Now's the time to work.
What? That's the good thing they have right there, is they're not too far behind and they have 12 coming to 11 laps to go to be able to catch them. That's not over for them. They're basically right there and they're going to be catching it. Yeah, they're probably in that draft already.
I'm just saying, they're right now proving me wrong. So that's just something that I would do that I've done in past experience. I actually have used here in the 3-wide racing league lap cars as a pick just to go for the race lead.
All right, well.
Yeah, I guess I guess I was wrong. I mean, it's working out for them.
They're basically there, and they're going to be racing for this win. They're going to be a factor in who wins this race now.
Practically 9 cars is going to be this group right here. 9 cars is going to be determine who's going to win this race. Now, I believe you're short.
They're going to jump out to that outside. Kyle Hanshaw gets a little hit there.
Good Lord.
I was going to say, this is 10 to go. This is probably about the time people are going to start jumping out. Johnny Thomas and Tate Lytle going to jump up to that outside as well.
Johnny and Tate's seen the 3OG boys and Chuck Sweeting coming at the moment, so they're going to take advantage of this situation. I know for sure that 22 is going to stick to that back bumper of the 17 working together as we go towards the race lead. Here we go, folks.
And I'm really happy that 3OG, that line there, did not waste time. They kept their momentum up and immediately jumped to that high side, and it looks like Kyle Hanshaw going to be the big loser in that. Tried to cut them off, tried to jump inside their line, and left them out to dry. Johnny Thomas past the 17 of Cameron Rich there. It's Eisentech on the bottom with David Wilson there. And then 3OG and JTR.
Still side by side here at Talladega, man. The most side by side I've seen up towards the front coming off turn 2 all night long. If Johnny can get to the inside as quickly as possible, that could help him out just a little bit because the 22 Peter Short will be trapped. Oh, he ain't giving up though.
Now the 17 will get back to the inside. Johnny did have them cleared, but chose to stay on the outside to try and help that line progress even more. It'll be side by side when we get to the start-finish line for 8 laps to go.
8 laps to go remaining here at Talladega Superspeedway for the start of the round 2 playoffs of the RaceKings Cup Series. Johnny Thomas, who has not won a race all season long, has the opportunity, probably in my opinion, one of the best restrictor plate drivers in the 3-wide racing league itself. He is out front. He's got drivers behind him, and he's staying committed to those drivers who are trying to help him.
Yep, does have the 17 cleared. And now the 56 is cleared, and they will drop to the bottom.
Look at that. Now the 18's all by himself, limited drafting help. He's got Salmasso with him, but I don't think it's just enough. He's going to need David Wilson to come and hop up there and help him out.
It's 3OG kind of stuck up there, and a pretty good gap in between them. Paul just trying to work the side draft at the moment and trying to hope that Luis will be able to get up there in time for him to help.
Oh, man, if race fans, my heart is pounding for this race. I wish I was in this race right now because this has got my adrenaline going. 7 laps to go at Talladega. This race is not over. I don't count out
No,
those
sir.
Isentech guys that's in the middle of that pack there might hop out of line. And I tell you what, the 3OG guys might actually help them just as much as they helped Lytle and Thomas to get towards the front.
Based on what we've seen so far here tonight with how you got to get that outside line working, I'm thinking 4 to go is probably going to be the magic number on when those guys start to break out and try and make a run up towards that front. You can't wait until the final lap. And I don't think with how these guys are drafting tonight, you can't wait until 2 to go either. You're going to have to make your move just a little bit before with probably about 4 to go. And here comes the 3OG guys starting to make their way up towards the front once again.
Working together. Can Chuck Sweeting get behind that number 4 car? He certainly will. He's going to go ahead and try to work with the, maybe not. Maybe he's having second thoughts on working with 3OG. He's still thinking about it. I don't know if he's going to or not. But right now, it looks like he's committed to work with them. So 3 cars on the outside line. 3OG and Chuck Sweeting all on that high side trying to make something happen in the closing stages of this race.
It almost seems like Chuck trying to work both lanes here, just trying to keep up with the momentum and try and jump up to that outside. Doesn't seem like he's really committed at the moment on what line he wants to run. That outside line slowly, ever so slowly, working their way up towards the front. And what this is going to do, it's going to limit the movement of the guys behind Johnny Thomas. So if once they get the room, they're going to have to make the move, I have to believe.
5 laps to go at Talladega. Next flag will technically end the race. If Cameron Rich wants to work with his teammate to go to the front, it's not possible because Peter Short has nowhere to go because he's blocked in by Paul Ross. Here comes 3OG trying to make something happen with the help of Chuck Sweeting. As they were counting down to it, lap car up ahead, he will get out of the way. That is Dylan Hickey. And looks like 18 of Ross is making ground to the front.
Still those cars behind Johnny and Tate, trapped just beside the 18 and 4. Really haven't made it much farther up than Cameron Rich in 3rd. That's about where they've stalled out. And now they're falling back to the 22 Peter Short for 4th.
Oh, Tate Lytle severely loose in the trial. Well, hangs on to it with 4 laps remaining at Talladega. Johnny Thomas is probably mirror driving more than what he's looking out towards the front, trying to see what line's going to go. And so far, that outside line, as you said, Justin, gets to 3rd place, but then they stall out. Johnny's not 100% worried about it. He's got Lytle pretty much committed to him.
And it seems like Chuck's kind of committed to that outside lane now. He's up to the door of that 39. Oh, no, he's going to fall back a little bit and just trying to work both lanes behind, trying to keep up momentum. And once again, that outside line just really, can't really move up anywhere.
Gonna have to need more help, it sounds like right now. Maybe get the 39 of Wilson to help up there. As we have 3 laps to go at Talladega. Looks like the outside line stalling out just a little bit more now. Johnny Thomas still remains the race leader. Tate Lytle in 2nd place. What's Cameron Rich going to do? Circle him.
If you're Cameron Rich, I have to believe you're not going to be able to get your teammate to go with you. You're going to have to jump to that outside line maybe now. He can't with Paul Ross to the door now. He's going to have to make the move himself. He's not going to be able to get his teammate to work with him, as now that outside line starting to make some ground up.
I love the strategy of 3OG Racing. I just don't think it's going to be enough. But right now, Paul's got some pretty serious legs coming down to this tri-oval area right now. Still side by side with the 17, maybe more, as we're coming down to 2 laps remaining at Talladega. Man, that 56 is so loose in the tri-oval, but he's still hanging on.
And I don't believe you can count out that 56 of Tate Lytle. Maybe if he stays true to trying to help his sister team advance into the next round of the playoffs, he'll help Johnny. But as a racer, I don't believe he'll be able to just sit behind and let him take the win.
A lot of, oh boy, don't go below that yellow line. Sorry to interrupt, but that could have been big right there.
Coming to the white flag, there's just that outside lane going to lose more ground. And if Peter Short can clear him, watch the 17 and 22 probably make a move.
Cameron's going to do it. He's got to do it right now. I mean, he can't, like you said, Justin, you can't wait till the last lap.
No, he can't wait any longer, and it is the white flag. So if he wants to do anything, he's going to have to do it now.
Too late, Paul's there. He thought about it, or Paul's already there. White flag is out for Johnny Thomas.
I have to believe this 56 is going to try something in the tri-oval to try and take this win away from Johnny Thomas. So it's not over yet.
Not over yet, indeed. If Tate Lytle's going to make his move, I bet it's going to be off turn number 4. But I don't know if that will be even enough because Paul Ross is not 100% all the way up to second place yet. He's still trying to battle for third, still trying to fight with Cameron Rich. Cameron Rich might hop out of line right now. He's still thinking about it.
He will. It's not going to be enough.
Here we go. That traps to 56.
There goes Tate.
There goes Tate.
Going to be to the quarter panel. I don't think it'll be enough. There goes the 22, the 17 in. It'll be Johnny Thomas.
Johnny Thomas as they wreck towards the line. 7
Oh, man.
of a second. He beat Tate Lytle to the line.
They waited until the tri-oval into the start-finish line to wreck it all, but Johnny Thomas is going to start his burnouts now. His first win of the season. Let's take another look at that.
Unbelievable here at Talladega. They waited till the last lap, until the tri-oval. It was certainly the right move.
You had to feel like that was coming at the tri-oval. People were just waiting to the last second. I didn't think they'd be able to do it, and
I'd like to ask Corey Lindsay and see if he can bring out the record books on what's the closest finish in 3 Wide Racing League history.
Man.
Watch this, to the line.
3 wide, and I'm not quite sure what happened behind. We'll get to take another better look at that, but man, was that close.
7 1,000ths of a second. Johnny Thomas beat his sister teammate Tate Lytle by. And holy smokes, Chuck Sweeting actually got through that wreck unscathed, finished 3rd. Cameron Rich 4th, Sal Masso 5th, and Peter Short 6th. Paul Ross actually got 7.
Man, oh man.
All right. Well, production truck, is it okay if we go for a commercial break? All right. We got permission to do so. So, folks, please stick around because we're going to interview the top 3 drivers, Johnny Thomas, Tate Lytle, and Chuck Sweeting. Please do not go away after a thrilling finish of Talladega action in the 3 Wide Racing League. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway here on 3Y TV, where we just witnessed a thrilling finish to the start-finish line with cars crashing and one of those photo finishes you just cannot deny here in the 3Y Racing League for the start of round 2 of the 2018 RaceKings Cup Series. And I have brought down in the victory lane here Mr. Johnny Thomas. Johnny, holy cow, congratulations, man. You know, on Twitter, you've always said, and I agree with you, and I called it on the broadcast, that you're one of the best restricted plate drivers in the 3Y Racing League. Tonight you showed it. You made the move at the right time. Tell me about those closing stages, man. What were you expecting? Were you mirror driving?
Yeah, I was mirror driving. I got one for you, Carlos. Got a win for you. Man, this was so insane. I was calm. I'm sure the broadcast was calm for the most part, but I knew it was gonna get crazy there in the last lap. I know Paul was super fast on the top lane. Him and Luis were really, really good. And if the second place car wasn't pushing you on the bottom, then that top lane could pretty much dictate on what they want to do. And man, I was just waiting until that last lap because I knew all hell was going to break loose in the last lap. If you didn't take left side tires at all, that tri-oval was tricky. I don't want to make a fool out of myself and spin out. I knew Cam was going to do something. He got a good run. Tate, like he should have done, blocked it, and with blocking it, got himself a good run. And I knew it was just going to be I knew Tate was going to have the advantage here because he had a big enough run. So I just came out and I door slammed him because this is unbelievable. I haven't won one of these Premier Series races in so long. I've won this Bud Shootout, the Clash at Talladega twice, but it's not a points paying race. So, man, I'm thrilled. I can't believe it.
Yeah, Johnny, the last win you had in the Cup Series was actually here at Talladega at this time last season in 2017. It is great to see you back in victory lane once again in the Cup Series side. We talked to you all season long about, hey, this win is eluding you. But you finally got it done here tonight at Talladega. Now, you said something about that tri-oval. It seemed like it was extremely loose, even on fresher tires. Can you explain that tri-oval and the best way to probably hit that tri-oval without getting that car loose?
The best way to hit the tri-oval is actually be on that. You see these lines, the grooves. There's 3 grooves as far as the traffic lines go. If you're in that second traffic line, the groove, and it's not bad at all. But the bottom has these little bumps in it, and you guys have all experienced it, where the steering wheel kind of ripples a little bit. And if you got older tires, it just wants to turn the car sideways. If you yank on it too much, you pretty much got to go into the tri-oval straight, and then let the wheel do the turn itself. It was really, really tricky there at the end, especially I think all these guys were taking 2 tires, I'm assuming, but we took no tires there in that last pit stop, and the handling was just awful. But we got the job done.
Most definitely, Johnny. Now, this is a paint scheme that actually you won a championship with, and actually
the whole year.
I was just about to say, you got an actual die cast of your car of winning a championship one season. I was a part of that championship as well, man. Now we go to Martinsville in Texas. You practically got this win. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carlos, Justin, and Johnny yourself. I do believe a win gets you into the next round, if I'm not mistaken. So it does. So what's your plans for Martinsville in Texas? Just kind of experiment, test around a little bit, since you ain't really got to worry about until Chicagoland.
Have fun. I've never been in this situation before. But I was talking to Richard. I was talking to a couple people earlier, and this season feels a lot like the season I won a championship. We had a bad we were really consistent for the most part that year, and we didn't win until Talladega when me and Richard hooked up there and won. And we were kind of underdog the whole year, and this is a lot tougher. Those guys are a lot better now. There's a lot more competition, and it's just really cool to win. Really cool to have teammates, as far as JTR teammates and my non-affiliated Toyota teammates with Kyle Hanshaw Racing. Tate was doing a good job helping me. Same with Kyle. But these next 2 weeks we're just gonna have fun. Martinsville is a great track for us. So maybe go 2 for 2. That would be a miracle.
That would be awesome indeed. Now you ain't got to worry about Martinsville, which is another practically a wild card race in the playoff round of 9, really. here in the second round. So, but Johnny, congratulations on the race here tonight. What a hell of a finish! I'm just going to say a hell of a finish, and best of luck to you at Martinsville and Texas. I mean, what a way, man! I'm proud for you, man.
I
It's
can't
awesome.
believe it. I can't believe I finally won it. But thanks, guys. Thanks, 3 Wide TV. Hopefully, we put on a good show for you guys. Man, I'm gonna be partying all night long, Tanner.
Oh man, well, have a beer for me, and I'll have a beer for you here.
That's right. Full of Miller Lights.
All right, that's Johnny Thomas, folks. One hell of a restricted plate driver he is. He wins the race here tonight. Really got to thank him for that truck race last night too. But that was Johnny Thomas. Now we go on to second place to his sister teammate Justin. I believe you caught up with Tate Lytle.
Yes, sir. Tate Lytle, 3 Wide TV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, what a finish that was. Coming in those closing laps, you can talk about it. You know, as a sister teammate to Johnny, I thought you were going to push him to the end, but I knew as a racer you weren't going to let him just have it that easily.
No, I told him when we were going there, I was like, I'll push you, but only until I know that one of us is going to win, and then it's anybody's game. And I didn't think I was going to have a good enough run, and got beside him and started making up ground, and thought maybe I had a chance, but 7,000, that's pretty damn close.
Absolutely. Well, we saw you and Johnny working that high side a few times here tonight. It was basically you two locked up the whole night. Maybe you can talk about that high side a little bit tonight. What we saw was you really had to get it formed up really well to make any sort of move, and even the two guys behind you, Paul and Luis, didn't quite seem like they could get it moving. Maybe you can talk about the difficulties of getting that outside moving.
Yeah, the draft wasn't nearly as good as the practice session on Thursday, or it just nothing near as, you couldn't suck up to the guy in front of you near as fast. But if you could, once we got 3 guys on the outside, you could make it work a little bit, but it was tough.
Absolutely. Well, a couple times tonight, not only you, but a few other guys, we've kind of talked to Johnny about it a little bit. Maybe you can talk about that bottom line and why it was so loose throughout the trial. We heard from a couple guys on older tires. It was horrible, and one of them caused a wreck for some of them tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, the first time I got loose was on like lap 30 or so. My screen glitched in the worst spot I could. The trial was there, and I thought I was going to lose it. And then, me being dumb, I didn't take tires the whole race, and man, those last 5 laps were sketchy.
Absolutely. Well, saw you really pumped up about this, unfortunately, second place tonight, but what a finish, and I'm sure that's one of the closest we've had in the series here. I know it's one of the closest that I've seen. So, move on from one of the biggest tracks here at Talladega to one of the smallest at Martinsville next week. What's the outlook for the paperclip?
To be honest, one of my worst oval tracks, so anything in the top 10 would probably be good. Probably be a battle of attrition. Only the short tracks are, so try to keep the fenders on it and hope for the best. But yeah, good for Johnny. I was pretty pumped for him. He's been close all year, so good to see him finally get it done.
Absolutely. Keeping the fenders on Martinsville, it's easier said than done. Well, amazing finish here tonight. Before we let you go, anybody you have to thank that got you to this amazing finish here tonight?
Well, obviously Johnny, because I probably wouldn't be back in the league if it wasn't for him. And then Kyle for letting me drive in one of his cars. So, gotta thank those 2 guys. It was fun working with both of them all night.
Absolutely, and it was an amazing finish to watch. Really amazing all night between you and Johnny. So, congratulations on, unfortunately, second tonight. I know you wanted one better, but an amazing finish nonetheless, and we wish you the best of luck at Martinsville.
Oh yeah, if I could finish second to anybody, it'd be Johnny. So, good for him.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for doing the broadcast, guys.
Yes, sir. That was Tate Lytle comes home second here tonight. And Tanner, I do believe you've caught up with Chuck Sweeting.
I've caught up with Chuck Sweeting, and Chuck, man, you were very quiet, even though you're one of the most competitive. I shouldn't say one of the most, but you're very competitive here in 3 Wide Racing League. Notched up a couple wins before the playoffs started, but you were very quiet here at Talladega, and you still coming with a third place here at Talladega. But take me through the last couple of laps. I bet they were extremely crazy, and the draft was just so hard to work.
Yeah, the draft was horrible for the outside. We just didn't have enough cars to get a good run, and finally on that last lap, I just kind of was hanging back, in a place where I could see what was going to happen in front of me, so I could try to drive through it. And was fortunate enough to be able to do that and get third. I was kind of surprised by that. I was going to be settling for seventh, but which wouldn't have been horrible, but especially the way my luck's been lately.
And speaking of luck, I know you didn't win the race here tonight. Now we go to Martinsville Speedway. Here after Talladega, are you content with your finish here tonight at Talladega, or would you just have loved to love this race and just get Martinsville and Texas out of the way?
No, I think Martinsville will be a lot more fun. It's it's more of a driver's track. This is more of a luck track, and I just I don't have any teammates in this league, so I'm kind of on my own, and I'm lucky if I don't lose the lead pack. So, but Martinsville, you kind of make your own luck there. So we'll see what happens. I like the track. Hopefully, I can stay out of trouble and get a decent finish there. And Texas ought to be a blast.
All right, and speaking of Martinsville, realistically it's a good points night for you, but you said Martinsville's a driver's track. How do you plan on executing Martinsville? Because I do think, in my opinion, that Martinsville is kind of just as much as a wild card as Talladega is, if not worse, just because we could see a lot of cautions at Martinsville. What are your thoughts on Martinsville?
Yeah, it can be. You're right about that. It may not be quite as bad because when you wreck at Martinsville, you can sometimes keep going and it doesn't really hurt the car that much. You wreck at Daytona or Talladega, you're just going to be way off the pace. But the odds for getting in a wreck are maybe a little bit higher at Martinsville. So I don't know. We'll see. And my approach is just going to be try to stay out of trouble first half of the race, and then if I'm competitive, maybe try to move up after that.
All right, Chuck. Well, so far it looks like you got a little momentum back from here at Talladega. Even though, you're probably right. It was a luck track, but the momentum still kind of riding with you just a little bit after a third place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that for a podium finish, and best of luck at Martinsville next week.
All right, thanks a lot, Sam.
That was Chuck Sweeting, who finishes in the third position here tonight. Production Chuck, who we got next? Cameron Rich, the birthday boy. Justin Kolb, you've caught up with Cameron Rich.
Yes, sir. Cameron Rich, 3YTV, you got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, didn't quite finish your age like you said you would last night. A good race for you all night, up towards the front, and unfortunately comes home in a wreck, but I mean, it was quite the finish nonetheless there, up towards the front.
Yeah, I'm happy about that, man. I always expect these to end up in the catch fence, and then anything better is a bonus. So, thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Nerve-wracking as hell, but it was pretty fun. That finish was pretty cool. It looked like everybody was wrecking across the line, and good on Johnny. That was fun. I had fun working with him throughout the first part of the race.
Well, I assume you gave your stream a pretty good ride there as well. Those closing laps, it kind of seemed like Paul and Luis were hanging on you, basically right on you two that whole time. If they weren't there, I imagine you and Peter probably would have gave them a run for their money.
Yeah, man, the high line worked. It was weird all night. You could like stay up there with two cars, kind of make moves and get up there to the leader, but it seems like if you got too many cars up on the high side, it would just not work very well. It was kind of weird, you wouldn't expect that, but this whole draft model just, it's frustrating and weird at the same time, but I think we all figured it out pretty nice. I didn't look like it was too crashy smashy. I saw somebody in my mirror flying towards the air at one point, so that was a little disconcerting, but it's pretty good. Had some green flag stops, and that was a little nerve-wracking too, because I was like 65 at the line and it didn't get me. But yeah, it was fun. I had fun working with Johnny and just being up there with the 3OG cars all night. They were working really well together.
Well, we move into Martinsville next week. You're probably the only driver we can really say that's probably good to the next round. Obviously, mathematically, not quite yet, but on paper, it looks good.
Yeah. That was my plan for this race. I just wanted to just wanted to survive, and if I could get a good finish out of it, that's all the better. So I love Martinsville. I love short tracks in general, so I'm really looking forward to that. That can turn into kind of a wild card, like the opposite of Talladega, if you will. But depending on how crashy smashy it turns out to be, but I think it'll be pretty good. We've had our cup races at Martinsville have always been pretty good, I think. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we got Chicago next. Should be.
I believe it's Texas.
Texas?
And
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this schedule, Dan.
Why don't I
It's
fact
Texas.
check that? Yep, it's Texas and then Chicagoland. So you're
One of these
close.
days I'll get it right. So
Yeah.
good.
It's hard.
Yeah, Texas is gonna be fun too. So high tire wear, slidey, slippy, slidey track. So I like those kind of tracks.
Yes, sir. Well, before we let you go, anybody you have to thank here on this birthday evening for it? Well, I guess technically for you over there on the East Coast, it's the day after your birthday, unfortunately. But here on the West Coast, it's still your birthday.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for broadcasting. It's pretty cool. All the people that watch my stream, it's pretty cool too. Corey put on this league. He puts up with us a lot, so love him. Love you, Corey. We all love what you do. And my teammates are helping me and just being awesome. Just want to say that, Drew, Peter, Race, Jordan, you guys are all awesome. So love y'all.
Yes, sir. Well, we wish you the best of luck at Martinsville, and I guess for you, it's a belated birthday, but happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Cam and Rich comes home somehow fourth here tonight. And
Well,
Tanner, I believe you caught up with Luis Almaso.
yeah, let's talk to Mr. Luis Salmaso, one of the dominant cars of tonight's race. And Mr. Luis Salmaso, do you got a copy? Luis, man, I tell you what, you're running for a championship. You lead most laps at Talladega, but you do not come out with the win. It's probably going to be one of the most frustrating things for you here tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but take me through your entire race, bud. Looks like it was very hard to pass for a lot of these drivers. You look like you were very content out towards the front, obviously, and just came short towards the end there. You couldn't really get anything happening with Paul up towards the front there. Tell me about it, man.
Yeah, we knew the game plan was trying to stay in front as much as we could. Just trying to avoid potential problems. But everybody was pretty well behaved during the most part of the race. Everybody giving each other a little bit of room, just so nothing stupid would happen. When you are up front, you are burning more fuel than anybody else. So I knew that was going to be something that if we went green and everybody was trying to save like they were, we got to a point there before our final pit stop where I was running 75% throttle in front of an entire group and no one was catching my bumper. So everybody was doing as much fuel saving as they could. So, but you're the leader, you're going to burn more fuel. So I knew I was going to have to pit first and just hope to God that people would follow me. And the only guy that came with me and Paul was Chuck. So when we came out of the pits, I knew we were going to be behind. We were hoping that people were going to be a little bit more aggressive than they were. They ended up following a single line. I think if cars were, if it wasn't Johnny and Tate with Cam and Peter right behind, if there was a mix-up between teammates and people running together, I think we were going to see that, guys being a lot more active than they were. But at the end, it was me and Paul having to decide, what are we going to do? We can sit behind and just pray, or we can try to make as much as we can work. So that's what we did. We side drafted, like I think we could reach into Peter and Cam's car and just like mess around with their hair, do something underneath the helmet, whatever it is. So close we were, and my temps were almost exploding at the end of that race. So I was pushing 285 to 90 degrees on oil and water just to try to keep Paul up in front with those guys. And I thought people were going to attack a lot earlier than they did, and ended up being in the last tri-oval, and then there's nothing we could do. So, but it was a good points line. We managed to get the halfway points, and with the top 5 at the end, it was a pretty good finish overall. So, not a bad race considering this was Talladega, and things a lot worse could have happened.
You practically answered my next question just because I was going to ask you, are you content with your finish here tonight? It sounds like you are, since you just said it was a good points night. And with that being said, what's your thoughts on Martinsville next week? Even though it was a good points night and it does not lock you in next round, do you feel safe walking into Martinsville right now? Do you think there's that high chance that you might lose points? Just what are your overall thoughts on Martinsville at this point?
Martinsville is one of those places that you never know. What people normally say that super speedway is a crapshoot. I think Martinsville is one of the wildest and most unpredictable tracks that we have, because if you get caught in the wrong sequence of pit stops, chances are that you're going to be a lap down, 2 laps down if you have to pit under green, which is almost impossible to come back from. Even if you get damage, you can still be competitive. So it's not something that gets you disqualified from being competitive if you have damage like Michigan or Auto Club, where it's so aero sensitive. You can bang the crap out of the car and still be fighting for positions. And it all comes down to the end of the race. Guys get aggressive. Race starts are the key. Depends on where you are, if you're starting on the inside or outside, and how aggressive are you trying to be moving people out of the way if you have better tires. So I think it's more of a problem to finish in a top 5 in Martinsville than to finish in a top 5 at Talladega. I think you have a lot more area to make mistakes here. So Martinsville is just unforgiving. If you get caught up in the wrong place, there's nothing you can do. And eventually a caution is going to catch you. You're not going to finish that race with a clean car, and if you do, you are not racing hard enough. So we'll see. It will be entertaining for sure. You guys are going to have one hell of a time up in the booth.
Seemed like we had a hell of a time up here in the booth here tonight, even though we were just waiting for you guys just to start making some moves instead of single file racing. But incredible patience on all you guys' part, by the way. But Luis, thank you for taking the time to talk with us this evening here tonight. Best of luck at Martinsville, and go get them, man. Try to get a win on before the season's over with.
I'm trying. I want to get one of those interviews with you finally saying, hey, the winner, Luis. So hopefully we're going to save that one for Miami in the last race and fighting for a championship on one of those top 3 positions. So we'll see. But we're trying, bud. We're trying to doing everything we can.
All right. Thank you, Luis, and we'll catch you next week.
Have a good night, guys.
That's Luis Salmasso, folks. Finishing. Got to remember where the heck he finished here tonight. He finished 5th here tonight after starting on the pole. And Justin, it is time to wrap it up for the unofficial race results at the moment. Johnny Thomas wins the race here tonight after starting 3rd. He was up there all night long. His sister teammate, realistically, Tate Lytle, finishes in 2nd after helping him. 7 1,000th of a second was the finish between the 2 drivers. Chuck Sweeting finishes in 3rd after starting 19th. Cameron Rich finished 4th. Pole sitter Luis Salmasso finishes in 5th. Peter Short, after starting 20th, will finish in 6th. Paul Ross, 7th. 8th place, David Wilson, after starting 24th. Heck of a run for David. Nice job. Kyle Hanshaw in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Samuel Close, who had a miscue on pit road there, Justin.
Yes, sir. Richard Lafferty will come home in the 11th position here tonight. Todd Smith will finish in 12th. Dylan Hickey in 13th. Richard Hines in 14th. Mike Stevens will round up the top 15 there, and then it's Nathan Velez in 16th, Chad Brown in 17th, Patrick McCusker in 18th, Drew Eisenman in 19th, and Jordan Teal rounds out the top 20.
Blackjack finish position tonight, Rusty Webb, 21st, Nick Miller, 22nd, Wade Lear finishes in 23rd, 24th, Matt Hackthorne, and Levi Zielinski finishes 25th. Corey Lindsay finished up there in the officials booth here tonight. Justin, final thoughts on Talladega and your thoughts on Martinsville next week.
Well, tonight it was definitely calm before the storm. It was calm all but till the last 10 laps to go, it seemed like. And boy, what a heck of a finish it was, with Johnny Thomas getting his first win of the season, and couldn't have come at the most perfect time. Advances him into the round of 6. So he doesn't have to worry about Martinsville or Texas, just has to worry about Chicagoland and Phoenix. And then Martinsville next week. As these drivers said, it's basically its own little crapshoot, and looking forward to it. I always like little short tracks, and that's what's going to deliver next week.
All right. Well, before we let everybody go, first we have a lot of thank yous to give out. First and foremost, the series sponsor of the 3Y Racing League Cup Series, RaceKings. Thank you very much for sponsoring the 2018 Race King Cup Series this season. It's been a whale of a ride, and we're not finished yet because next week we got Monday night racing. October 1st, 2018, 250 laps around the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway. And Justin, I do believe you got the pole awards to thank, and as well as track cams.
Yes, sir. I want to thank Drive for Suicide Prevention for the Drive for Suicide Prevention pole award here tonight. Got to thank Track Cams for Gourmet for these amazing camera angles you saw here tonight. You can find out more information and download the pack at www.trackcams22.com or facebook.com/trackcams. And want to thank Thomas Morris from OCR TV for the graphics package you saw here tonight.
And thanks to the team tonight, Justin and Carlos, who do a phenomenal job each and every single week on Monday night. As well, it's time to wrap her up. So Justin and myself are going to go try to win some truck races before the end of the season. That is New Hampshire on Sunday, September 30th, 2018 on Sim TV for 125 laps. And also be sure to join Sam and I. Or not Sam and I. Oh my God, I'm thinking of Sam Close. Justin and I next week, Monday night at Martinsville Speedway for 250 laps of paperclip action. I'm Tanner Sharp, Justin Kolb, and Carlos Acosta. We'll see you next week.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.